Yo, 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 what's going on, family? It's your boy Driscoll once again, reporting live from Phoenix, Arizona. Appreciate y'all for joining us for tonight's show. Once again, reporting live from Phoenix, Arizona. Appreciate y'all for joining us for tonight's show. Tonight's topic is our culture redeemable. We're going to talk Tory Lanez conviction and Andrew Tate and Brittany Renner debate. Let's get into it.
Yeah. Driscoll. This beat should be illegal, Jay. Yeah. Dreams deferred is where schemes occur. Some nights I prayed so long I felt my knees a burn. So thankful that my God has met my knees in turn. But times I wonder if I ever get the things I yearn. Chosen one, never thought I had much need to learn. Hope someone would give to me the things I need to earn. Uncommitted to the things that ever seem too stern. Live to quit, rarely winning, steady victim to the sentence. Still in prison to the menace of the cycle, unrepentant. The weight can't hold our head up, golden shackles hold our penance. Of slaves are now the kings, while pass the chains to our descendants. While we still abuse the fame to bring us shame through our remittance. Just to glorify the things that bring us pain for all the bliss. And blame the world for our destruction while we're void of all remiss. Ain't no fathers in our home, self-deployed to some men. Marching, fighting for these boys, imagine if they fathers did. Sacrifice to raise a kid, imagine if these daughters did. Break the cycle, not do the things they single mamas did.
Come on in, join us. We'll be getting this started shortly.
Communities would be stronger, we would have less trauma then. We'd be raising stronger men and see less working mamas then. Making others rich when they should be home working on their kids. Life uncovered, so works all the security they get. Another child in daycare who don't know how to play fair. I remember wondering why I even had to stay there. Man, I miss my mom when I ain't been alive for 3 years. And the chest is where I used to lay my head and cry these tears, breastfed. But now bedtime's the only time she's ever near. As I grow up, life's a mess, little more drama every year. Learned to bottle up the pain, used the condom for my tears. Still I'm working through the shame, feel the karma on my heels. Trying to break into this game with every ounce of hope I still addicted to the chains. Every ounce of rope I feel. Feed my vices when I'm broke till I feel like my soul is healed. Treated like a great escape, I can't die before the thrill. Acting like we tough just so you won't take time to know the shield. Please don't call they bluff, this youngest waste no time to hold it still. To cap your whole jaw bling, I guess it's time to mold your grill. Since your hotep king get mummified and put the rest when this abortion thing gets nullified, we gon' be blessed. Glad the court's been cleaned of all the violence on the left. Let the trumpet sing and hope the sorrow pours the wealth, so the unclaimed kings can hold the power for my hell. Let's confront these things, say no to crime before
Come on in.
The biggest issue facing Black America is father absence. We have children that are growing up without their fathers in the home, and that is being incentivized by the government right now
Hit that like
via the
button.
welfare system.
Subscribe if you have not already.
Give you more money if you don't marry the father of your children. You are incentivizing bad behavior in our community. What happens when you remove a father from the home? This is why I do not mess with feminism at all. I'm not with it.
The feelings I let dwindle in a dark place. For healing, I surrender to what God say. Stay when they haters live to see my octane. The ignorance and their feelings make my heart ache. Communities hurt, they turn their back on our faith. They kill our unborn children through the pathway. But sell them on the black market, that's a dark web. Tune in and address the strategy for all fails.
This breakdown and mocking masculinity, making it seem like there's something wrong to be a man, all of this contributes to the breakdown of family.
Once again, thank you for coming on our show tonight. Our topic is our culture redeemable. I'm your boy Driscoll, accompanied by my man Smitty, and we are going to talk about the Tory Lanez conviction, the big conversation with Andrew Tate and Brittany Renner, and just get everybody to weigh in on your thoughts on the direction that we are going as a culture and society. So if you don't know him, without further ado, give it up for my man Smitty. I'm gonna let him introduce himself to y'all. We're gonna get into this. Smitty, what's up with you, bro?
What is going on, bro? I am King Smitty, libertarian extraordinaire, Michigan resident. Happy to be a part of this show once again. I had some fun last night, and I'm ready to do some reactions with you. Let's get it popping. And I appreciate you for having me on yet again.
Yeah, man, we getting active, bro. We got a culture to change out here, you know. So let's get into it, man. How familiar are you with the Tory Lanez Mega Stallion situation?
I knew that, what is it, a year or maybe 2 years ago, there was rumors spreading that he had possibly shot her.
Okay.
But I never watched like any case, so I don't know how true it is. I don't know of any witness testimony or anything of that nature.
Okay. So go ahead.
The biggest thing that I seen, and it's a joke / like a meme, it was like, yo, the fact that Tory Lanez's father has a bald head and has a part in it is mind-boggling. Like, that's the biggest thing that I got out of the story. So,
well, so you did see that with Tory Lanez's father obviously saying that this was an unjust situation. He's taking shots at Rock Nation, Jay-Z, etc. What's your thoughts on that?
Rock Nation has they're not represented well. When Travis Scott had his tour, the last tour that I remember that he was on or whatever, which was some sort of fest or whatever, like people were killed there, and he had to apologize to families.
Wait,
and
Travis Scott is signed to Rock Nation?
I thought but his security was Rock Nation.
Okay.
Security and the event planning and everything was through Rock Nation.
I see.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I seen his pops going off, and I guess what really matters is what happened. You know, what happened in the case, because a lot of people thought Tory Lanez was innocent. A lot of people thought he was about to get off. And it's very interesting to see the exact opposite happen. So the best I can do, we got a video of a criminal lawyer breaking down the Tory Lanez verdict, and maybe he can give us the details to give us a discussion point to start with.
Let's check it out.
Let's check it out. One second. Technical difficulties.
So I guess while we're dealing with this, how you plan on starting your New Year's off?
Man, when is New Year's? What day is it, first of all?
Does it? I think it starts on Saturday. If not Saturday, then Sunday.
It depends on if it's Saturday or Sunday. If it's Sunday, I'm gonna start it off by working.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Saturday, probably do something lightweight at the crib. Got some fireworks ready to go.
Nobody. New Year's is Sunday, so
okay.
But you know, everybody do their partying on New Year's Eve, and nobody partying. You know, New Year's is the hangover day for those that partake.
I'm having an issue with my screen share ability. I might have to restart it, bro.
You want to send it to me?
Yeah. Do you got a screen share option?
I can literally do it out of my OBS.
Let's do that. Thank you. Okay.
Send it to me and then send me the timestamps in which you want me to share.
Cool. Coming your way now.
And my camera looks way better. All I had to do was just change my resolution yesterday.
Gotcha. So what you got planned for the new year?
I fish fry. New Year's Eve.
That's why you asked. You getting it popping.
Yeah. Get some cod in the building. Fry that up. Get some fries. I think I'm gonna fry some scallops too, bro.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I never did it, but I had fried scallops before. They were.
You about to make me make a store run, bro. You got to make me make a store run. Yeah. Just start it from the beginning. Right, maybe 30 seconds in.
It's gonna automatically try to.
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Who is he?
All right, hold on. All right. Can you see it on my video side?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me know if I need to turn the volume down at all.
Yeah, just make it a little bigger when you're done.
Gotcha.
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And what he do? And it's going.
Shout out to the criminal lawyer for this breakdown.
Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, and welcome to the holidays. It's Christmas, and this is a fireside chat edition of CLR Bruce Rivers. But before we get...
how far up should I go to skip the ad?
Like all of our episodes.
Yeah, I was saying about 30 seconds to a minute.
eForms.com. Let's say you're in jail this weekend because
I'm gonna go up a minute
to go back there anyway. So go to eForms.com of an unregistered firearm. The possession of an unregistered firearm of assault with a deadly weapon, negligent discharge, and possession of an unregistered firearm. The possession of an unregistered firearm is not that big a deal. The news media says he's looking at 22 and a half years. He's not looking at that much time. The biggest problem that he's going to have is deportation. He's from Canada. He's not a U.S. citizen, I don't think. And if he's convicted of a felony, especially a gun count, he is going to be looking at a significant amount of time out of the country, that is. Now, let's just talk about what happened in this trial. You had Megan Thee Stallion, Megan Pete. She testified. Kelsey Harris testified. But Kelsey Harris, I don't think was all that powerful. But what's powerful in this case are two things. One, the position of where Tory Lanez was in the vehicle. And then the other part is, look at her.
And before we continue this, I want to use the fair use claim in this. This is for educational purposes. This is not us stealing content. This is fair use. So
absolutely. And before you finish, Kelsey Harris was Megan Thee Stallion's best friend, just for clarity. So that's what makes this case interesting the most for me. So you can go ahead now.
All right.
Her injury. They pulled a slug out of her, or at least a fraction of a portion of a slug out of her foot. So the jury evidently bought what Megan Thee Stallion was selling. Now, there's a lot of controversy about what happened and how it happened and who to believe and who not to believe. The jury in this case believed Megan Thee Stallion and believed that Tory Lanez actually fired the shot. But there was some controversy about whether or not Kelsey and Tory were fighting over this gun, and Kelsey, when push came to shove, she didn't testify for shit. She didn't testify that she heard Tory say "dance, bitch." She didn't hear him say that, or at least now she says I was drunk and I'm suffering from postpartum depression. So she didn't recall that, and she didn't recall seeing him shoot the gun. So it really came down to Tory's word against Megan's word. And when you have that, you can't have that without something else backing things up. She did have an injury. There's no question that she had an injury. She went to the doctor, and they pulled out a bullet fragment out of her foot. That's powerful. And then you also look at the location where they found the gun and where they found Tory. And we in our last video about this, you remember we showed you that Tory was in the front passenger seat, Megan Thee Stallion was in the rear passenger side, and Kelsey Harris was in the rear driver's side. So when you have something like this happen, people take sides, right? When the OJ case happened, people took sides, regardless of race, gender, or whatever.
Pause it real quick.
But in this case, people are taking sides. And
see, that's where the confusion lies for me. Like, I'm always confused about whether the shot went off in the car. I hear people say they got out the car and there was an altercation. It's just very weird for me that Kelsey and Megan are sitting in the back seat. Tory's in the front seat. And somehow he gets a position to shoot her in the foot.
Yeah, in a car.
Very odd for me, bro. I just can't understand how the facts can align to that, which, you know what I mean? For me, it just felt way more likely that Kelsey was the one that shot Megan, in my opinion. And that was what the defense was trying to stand on. So you can go ahead and finish it.
I was getting ready to make that point, but
yeah.
Megan's taking a lot of heat for this. So let's take a look at the reaction from Tory's father.
In the LAPD's office, tell me how.
And you can cut it from there.
My God Almighty!
Yeah. That's the main basis for this whole ordeal with me. So we all know, obviously, Tory's dad is livid because he believes that his son didn't do it. Everybody's acting like Tory's about to be gone forever. I don't believe that happens to celebrities, personally. I mean, not that it can't, not that it never does. Not that it ever does, never does. I just don't think that it will. Because you got, like, who is it? C Murder still in prison. Or no, he just got out, one of the two, but he did a lot of time either way. So it can happen. I don't think it will in this case. But the biggest issue for me, and I know this isn't fair, but if we're just doing it based off character, both of them got some issues.
Yeah.
Both of them got issues.
Speaking up on what we're talking about, like culturally, this just seems bad because it seems like Tory should have a fall guy, but Megan chose not to pick the fall guy, like the guy who's going to shoot the shot, or a bodyguard who's going to protect him via somebody aggressing towards him. So, I think Meg Thee Stallion initially was like, you know what? If I sue the bodyguard, I ain't gonna get that much money out of this. But if I sue Tory Lanez, then that's cash. That's cash.
I don't know if she's suing him though. This is a criminal case. So I don't know. There may be a lawsuit afterwards
or whatever.
There may be a lawsuit, involved as well. But my biggest thing, bro, Megan has a history. She's known for being aggressive in domestic relationships. She's been in trouble with the law for this prior. I remember hearing a story about her at South by Southwest with the ex-boyfriend that she was popping off on, and she got to throwing the hands at him, and the police happened to pull up at that moment. So this is not nothing new for Megan to be problematic. That's why I have a hard time believing for her to have that kind of a history that he just up and shot her. It's more likely to believe that somehow she was the one that initiated this whole conflict.
I would agree with you on that.
Yeah,
I would agree with you on that in its entirety. To the degree in which she deserved to be shot is probably questionable.
Fair.
And then the degree to which Tory Lanez actually fired the bullet.
Right.
So even if it's his bodyguard or whatever, like say he had a personal bodyguard who shot, you know what I mean? It's like, well, how good is that very first charge going to stick that the lawyer talked about, which is not a felony or a felon in in possession of a firearm, but just being in possession of an unregistered firearm in general.
And I think one of them was possession of a firearm while committing a felony. That's just those tack-on charges, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you already getting me for the shooting. God damn. But that's Cali,
Yeah.
And like he said, the concealed carry, I mean, having a concealed firearm in California, the way they letting criminals off, he would have been out in 30 days probably for that.
You talking about the so-called purge law?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I'm just really shocked though. I was really shocked to see this verdict because of the plausible deniability in the case. Had it been clear-cut evidence, cool. But it's kind of scary to know you can lock a man up without clear evidence. No DNA, conclusive DNA for Tory Lanez.
See, that's the part that plays a role to me.
Yeah.
Because even after you fire a gun off, bro, residue is still left on the clothing that you have on. So anytime you fire off a firearm, residue is going to end up on you. Did they check for that?
I think they did.
Because this seems like jury of public opinion.
That's what
more
it is.
So than letting a person be innocent until proven guilty.
Well, and that's what it is, but that's where it comes down to the whole idea of jury trials. Then does this change your trust in a jury trial? Would I prefer to just leave my fate in the judge's hands? It's tough. It's something to consider now.
Yeah, especially like in the point that I just made, like the court of public opinion, bro, outweighs almost everything. And the court of public opinion is going to be in your jury sometimes because people watch TV, people watch clips, people watch YouTube, people tend to think that they already have the story before evidence is presented. And how many of those people are going to be persuaded by evidence as opposed to I already know what happened because I saw the story.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's a man versus a woman. We know that plays a factor.
Yeah.
And the big question that would hang most people up is why would she lie? And that's my question too, though, to be all the way fair, because the other narrative is that Tory Lanez was sleeping with both Meg and the friend. So it's possible that they got into an altercation over that, and the friend ends up shooting Meg. Now, but that still leaves the question of why frame Tory in that predicament.
Complete hypothesis.
Okay.
What I'm about to say. Just a hypothesis, though. One way for you to look at it is like, all right, maybe they were dating. Maybe he got caught up doing something. Maybe she had this expectation of who he was supposed to be with, who he wasn't supposed to be with. Maybe he broke some trust bonds. Maybe some crazy stuff happened in the middle of her saying that. And then the shot got fired. And then she blamed it on Tory.
Got fired by who?
If anything, I would say, well, the other dude, I forget his name, but isn't that necessarily like his security guard, or is that his friend?
Okay, the security guard. I see.
Yeah, I would think that the security guard would shoot her before Tory Lanez did, because why do you have security?
I never thought about that, bro. And Tory just like, I'm not gonna snitch on my security. I know I didn't do it. That's very plausible. Which, in that regard, could he have possibly be held responsible anyway?
I don't think no high-paying celeb though will. I mean, well, I won't even consider that to be G stuff. Like, if my security guard shot somebody, I would bring up the reason why she got shot.
Right.
Unless he ordered the shot, unless he was like, yo, get this bitch off me, and the security guard pulled the gun. And then even in that, if I was like, get her off of me, that doesn't mean shoot her. So it's like, hey, Meg Thee Stallion ain't no little chick.
Unless security guard ain't the only one with a gun.
There you go. I mean, we know about the entourages that follow celebrities. So even if there was a security guard there, like, who's to say that there weren't like 10 or 12 other people there? There's like a lot of stuff that you can add to this case. And unless they were in a lone vehicle, like, did they describe the vehicle that they were in? Were they in a limo? Were they in a...
It was some type of SUV.
And people with that type of fame don't usually just ride in cars by themselves.
Right.
You're
right.
Yeah, like you don't usually ride by yourself. You usually have a security detail with you because you run into these crazy people. Unless you're making a ride to go pick up the mail in your gated community or something like that. But
well, I guess the next point is the fact that this man can literally be deported and not allowed in the United States any longer. Is a part of this that I think a lot of people didn't really put much thought into prior to this. So essentially, regardless of what happens to him with litigation, his career is essentially over to a degree.
Yes,
I would like to think most of his fan base is in America. So is that fair? Is that righteous? Should that be taken into consideration? Should he still, I mean, I know that's not going to happen, but should he still be able to travel for business purposes? Or we need to go in and get rid of him because he's problematic anyway.
Gun charges are usually taken more serious than anything because then you're a threat to society. If you're a threat to society, then you gotta go ahead and get up out of here.
I'm with you on that. And that goes for everybody. That ain't even just celebrities, but especially the people with the means to abuse it.
So we got another clip, right?
Society.
And bro, I'm not trying to be funny, but give me 1 second. I got to use the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Do your thing. So yeah, we're going to get into the clip of Andrew Tate and Brittany Renner's discussion. If you do follow me on Instagram, you know me and my wife do relationship content, and she really been pushing me to get out there and get into the conversations deeper. So that's what I've been doing. And yeah, the more that I'm in these conversations, the more that I'm understanding the culture out here. I realized that I've been living in a cave and I really had no idea how bad things were. To a degree, I'm in it enough to see it. If you don't know, I am a artist. Obviously, you're here, but I also DJ. I even DJ in the gentleman's club during the week, so I'm there. I'm always seeing the people who hold to these modern feminist ideologies in my everyday life. So this is nothing new to me, but at the same time, I don't really dive into the conversations in the workplace to hear people's mindset. So that's what's blowing my mind. When you get on the internet, people are really like open with their ideas. And I realized like we're in a crisis in today's society. Taylor Dean, appreciate you for joining. What's your opinion of Andrew? You want to take that first, Smitty?
Andrew Tate is in a lot of ways a realist, but he's realist towards his position in life. He's like, if you're familiar with Kevin Samuels, he's considered like a high value man. So he has choices that a lot of other men in this world don't have the opportunity to make. I think a lot of his critiques, though, can be valued by a varying amount of people. I think what he says about the Matrix a lot of the times is more or less true than untrue. He's just one of those people that I wouldn't toss the baby out with the bathwater, but sometimes you got to throw the bathwater out with some of his takes.
I think that's a good way to put it. And I think that should be your approach with anybody, though. I don't think anybody you should be consuming wholeheartedly like their word is just life. You know what I mean? Except for Jesus. Because at the end of the day, everybody to some degree is going to be jaded by their experiences in life. So, as you said, Andrew Tate lives a life that affords him a reality that most men will never understand or experience. So, there's value to that. There are men that want to understand so they can experience it. But I also understand that most men will never experience it.
Mhm.
So I don't hate it. I feel like it's great that you're giving people something to strive to. You're creating these hard realities mentally that allow men to understand I need to be better if I want more in life. Stop complaining, because that's one thing I say about the manosphere, especially the black manosphere. We do a lot of complaining,
Mhm.
but when it's time to talk about solutions, it's a bunch of but. So that's one thing I gotta respect about the Andrew Tates, is that all the buts, they not trying to hear that. It's either is this what it is, and you can do this to change it, or you cannot exist in this reality.
Yeah.
I think we need more of that. Even if they're bringing things I don't agree with, I think we need more of that type of position in America.
Yeah. I agree with you in totality on that position. People should be able to say what they want to say, whether you like it or whether you don't like it. It should be of your own free will for you to assess what's true and not true and things of that nature. And when you're ready to get this next video rocking, because it's great that you brought up Andrew Tate right before we got this started. We're about to watch a video with him and Brittany Renner in it. So
absolutely. And Taylor said, my problem with the Matrix talk is that he says break out of the Matrix, but then tells his listeners the answer is to accumulate as much money as possible to live comfortably in the Matrix. That's actually an accurate point. That's an accurate point. But and that's where the flaw comes in with a lot of the people in that sphere of the manosphere. Somebody said it's like Agent Smith all over again.
Like, well, all right. So this would be like my nuanced take on it or whatever. Like it in response, and Taylor's my brother from another mother, bro. I appreciate
word. Welcome, family.
Yep. Yeah. My take on it is I think he wants people to try to gain wealth because nobody really wants to live in poverty. So I think that's an overall message that most people try to put out on a day-to-day basis anyway. I don't well, a lot of his talk says money talk. And he doesn't teach you how to be a minimalist of a man or how to be an average man or anything of that nature. So I can't really speak against too much of what you said. Like that's
can you teach something that you don't know though? If all I know how to do is win, how do I teach you how to barely make it?
That's that.
I mean, because there's also the idea that there's just different types of people in life, and some people are gonna be winners and some people ain't. I don't really subscribe to that. I think most people, not everybody, some people are born with deficiencies, but most people have the ability to be a winner if they choose to be. So I think that's the thing. It's like the difference between the winners and losers typically, and we understand that from the different phases of our lives, is the decisions we make. Is choosing to win versus accepting mediocrity. What's your take on that?
Exceptional people do exceptional things. And then kind of adding a little nuance to what I'm saying. Exceptional people do exceptional things, except exceptional people who procrastinate. You know what I mean? So you can have an exceptional mind, you can have exceptional ideas, but without putting those things into action.
Yeah. It's
then,
still about the decisions you make at the end of the day.
Yeah. How exceptional are you? You know what I mean?
Let me go back to this comment. Family Value said you can still take advantage of the Matrix and break out at the same time. No. I think that's where the conflict lies with people. I think most people are like, if you're against this, then you can't use any part of it. And I don't know if I subscribe to that. I think especially if we're going, listen, if you are really trying to hold true to that ideology of completely breaking out the matrix, you need to leave the United States of America.
Where can you go outside of America that's not a part of the matrix, though?
Well,
the UN exists.
Well, I'm saying to an undeveloped society. You live in the jungle, you grow your own things, you live that life. That's the only way you really out the matrix. Other than that, then we're just talking and nitpicking our standards, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know, you got let's bring it back in this way that we all understand when it comes to like rap. You got your hardcore people that's like, that ain't real rap.
Mm-hmm.
Real hip hop is this.
Yeah.
And in that circle of people who say that, they're all going to have a different idea of what real hip hop is and who shouldn't be in that circle.
Yeah. Well, that's like ideology.
Yeah.
So ideology tells you what to think as opposed to you thinking for yourself. So you're part of a think group. Automatically, you become a part of a hive, and I tell people to stay far away from that. And I tell people not to become a part of ideologies because there's a lot of information in ideology. Because I mean, a lot of pseudosciences, a lot of great pseudoscientists are ideologues. But the thing isn't to wrap your head around or make everything that one person says the greatest part of who you are. And that's the only way that you can carry out your life.
Right, exactly. And unfortunately, in the society that we live in, fiat is the currency.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you don't have any real power to create opportunities without it.
And you let rappers tell you clout is currency now.
Well, to a degree it is.
Yeah.
Dude, because a lot, let's be real, most of these rappers ain't balling like they pretend to be. Especially after that hit single start to fizzle out. So you can make money and opportunities off your clout still. You know, Pleasure P or Pretty Ricky. He's a well-off man right now off of some other type of business he's running. I think like a social media thing. You got Chameleonaire who got into tech and started creating some kind of tech thing he's like worth $50 million right now, and he had one hit song.
Yeah, but you can still go to Texas and you can still hear they trying to catch me riding dirty.
I mean, and that's the beauty of having a real hit song. But you got other dudes out here that got a lot more songs that you're gonna hear more often in the streets, and they ain't got no money because they owe the label everything that come in.
Yeah.
So
so is true wealth clout?
I don't like clout because I think there's a difference between clout and influence, but I think true power is influence. I don't know about wealth. I think wealth is assets.
Man, like true power to me is competence.
Competence?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, competence is true power.
What you mean by that?
The mastery and understanding of what you do. And I might be saying the exact same thing that you're saying.
Give me a like a way to understand that. Like, what does that look like?
A competent person
in a situation like to where it brings power.
Jocko Willings has a book out called Extreme Leadership, and he talks about the difference between the men who were willing to be extremely responsible for the things that they did and then continue to adapt to what they were dealing with while still taking the blame for their failures. So most competent people are aware of themselves and then they're aware of other people. So a competent person is going to be like, well, we failed this mission. That was my fault. But the competent person is going to continue to excel, where the other person will probably try to place the blame on somebody else. Jocko Willings' book, Extreme Leadership, is a great read. And like that is a great divider between ownership is a great divider between competence and being incompetent.
So with that definition, is Andrew Tate competent in your opinion?
Not on all things.
That's okay. That connected it for me because then I would agree.
Yeah, not on all things.
Okay.
Not on all things. Well, like Thomas Sowell has a book out called like Intellectuals in Society or whatever. It's like just because you can beat somebody blindfolded or beat 3 people blindfolded in a chess game doesn't mean that you should work in politics. It just means that you're gifted in that one area. So it's like competence is power, because people who exercise their power in the area that they're strong in are usually great at that thing. But then what we have is we have a society to where people are elevated higher than they are, especially in like Black culture, because we exalt rappers.
You know
We
what? You're right.
exalt NBA players. We exalt NFL players. We exalt those people just because of a monetary basis. And it's just because they're competent in their field. It's like, yeah, you're great, but you're great there. That doesn't mean you should be telling me how I should live my life.
You're right. You're right on that matter, because I have seen that where there will be people that, you know, I do a show for an organization, and I seen people that have come on with a huge following and not have much at all to offer. And then there'll be people that you can barely find on social media that are knock the lights out with their wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
So I get where you're coming from with that. In society, unfortunately, the bigger influence does tend to go to ignorance or the less competent influencers.
Yeah, but entertainers aren't the richest people in the world.
No, I'm not even just talking about entertainers.
Yeah.
You know, people are influencers for all kind of things now. You can be influencer just for interviewing people on the street, talking about politics. You know what I mean?
And we could say this for a Patreon page, but like Bill Gates, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Without going too deep into it, yeah.
Family Value said wisdom is true power, in my opinion, or maybe love and wisdom. How do you feel about that?
Love and wisdom?
That sounds like a woman thing to say.
As a disagreeable person who knows how to negotiate for himself or for myself, I don't usually use love in negotiations.
Yeah, I don't think powerful men tend to do that, because love, in the way that it sounds, can be predicated on a feeling, or it can be influenced by a feeling. And that's the last thing you need in a negotiation if you want it to go your way.
Yeah. The wisdom part, yeah, for sure. You need wisdom because, I mean, like wisdom, like the way that I break this down to people is there's knowledge and there's wisdom. So knowledge is pretty much knowing things. Wisdom is you acting out knowledge. So wisdom plays a part in that. Wisdom plays a part in competence. A competent person is going to be a wise person, and they're going to make better decisions, like anti-feeling based decisions. And I'm not saying that like love should not ever play a part in any business role, but if I'm negotiating with you, that's the last thing that's on my mind.
And how does that work for you? Do most negotiations come out in your favor?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't walk into a job like, well, I love you guys. I heard great things about you. And they're like, well, how much do you want to be paid? Well, I'll take the least amount because I just love this company. It's like, nah, like, man, I heard great things about this company, but I could do better for y'all.
Well, I'm a practical thinker. So Taylor, if you can be real with us, then if you believe also that love equals power, or you say you rock with it, do your negotiations typically turn out in your favor in life? Let's look at the results and measure it like that, you know. But definitely not hating, man. I'm all for what works, bro. I don't got an issue with love. I move in love. But I also understand that a display of love in the way that most people tend to want to see it displayed.
See,
can
I
often
think
can often become a weakness with the wrong people. Go ahead, bro.
ultimately drives the average human being. So me and Taylor had this conversation before. Ultimately, like he kind of like looks at money, kind of like what you said earlier, like it's fiat. You know what I mean? So it's like love, creating family, and things of that nature. I think that's more so what he's talking about. And
Okay. Well, then I'm
maybe
with him
that's
all the
what,
way. Then I'm with
yeah,
him all
maybe that's what Jazz was talking about.
probably.
Like when I'm talking about like power and like competence, I'm talking about like I'm a disagreeable dude and I deal with disagreeable dudes uh uh on a normal basis.
See, now that's intense because for me, I'm a disagreeable dude who chooses not to deal with disagreeable dudes for that reason.
I have a lot of interesting conversations. You talk to people who disagree with you, you learn all types of stuff. Um, I'm the type of person that believe that I learn more from my enemies than more so I do my friends. My enemies teach me a lot because your enemies teach you your weaknesses because your enemy is more likely to tell you something that's weak in you than I'm more likely to tell you there's something that's weak in you. You know what I mean?
Facts. That's real.
Yeah.
Taylor, I think you were correct. He said, I'm not really thinking in terms of business. Yu Shin, what's up, family? Said wisdom says that wealth is money. Knowledge informs that money today is paper and a bonded contract that negotiates value based on the currency of an economy. I can agree with that. That's well worded. I like that. Wealth is money. I mean, we seen that in the Bible. The one thing Solomon asked for made him the richest man in the world of all time. So that's powerful. Knowledge informs that money today is paper and a bonded contract that negotiates value based on the currency of an economy. So to a degree, you need both. But I think ultimately, wisdom produces all of it.
Yeah. It's this kind of goes back to like an American thing, but it's still like this. Like in America, barter systems don't really exist anymore.
I
You know
wish
what I
they
mean?
did. I wish they did.
Yeah, it would be dope. I mean, we can maybe hold a video on this one day. We could talk about JFK one day because
Honestly, it still can though. We don't have to not let it. You can do that in backdoor channels in a sense.
well, drug dealers do it on a regular basis, but they do it with people who are kind of like on the worst ends of things.
You talking about some oral sex for a bag?
No, like I'll give you my speakers for a bag. That's
Right.
bartering.
Okay.
Or oral sex for a bag isn't a barter. That's
That's corruption.
I'm not thinking to go sexual with it at all, man. Like it's like the fair exchange of one item to the next. That's bartering. You know what I mean? It's like
Fair exchange. Okay.
yeah, the
like
fair
that,
exchange. Yeah,
I like that though because fair can change.
Well, yeah,
Because
because
I'm just
your
going to grab
economy
what's in front
changes,
of me right now.
bro. We live. You know I'm libertarian, so I believe in free markets like a mofo. So when it comes down to it, like the markets change. But even though we don't live in a libertarian society or anything of that nature right now, even though we live in the society that we live in now, markets change every day. Like
Right.
inflation is a thing right now.
See, if we were to have the police go away or to be invaded by a foreign nation, this in my hand right here would suddenly become one of the most valuable things in society.
Yeah.
I could probably get a house with this.
Well, it would depend on how much control they got over their first invasion. You know what I mean? Like the very first place that you invade is manufacturing companies. That's who you invade first. You attack people's ability to produce.
Yeah, Russia was taking out the dang power plants.
Yeah, you would take, because that's how you defeat a country. You deplete their resources. It's like, how did we win World War II? It was resources.
And I
So
genuinely believe the way the CCP has infiltrated us from the inside, I think we could be closer to something like this than we understand oftentimes.
well, all right. So we had the Wild Wild West of the internet that existed, let's say, a decade ago from now. And a lot of people got a lot of information. And then this is where you get people that exist now who don't believe in anything. Like all the conspiracy theorists. The conspiracy theorists didn't jump in when Trump got in office. They always been there.
Right.
And I will even label myself a conspiracy theorist because I've been one since I was like 18 and I'm 36.
I tell Jazz all the time, me and this dude have been talking about off the wall, unallowed in the right room stuff since adolescence almost.
And literally have been talking about how to talk to other people about it. And here we are.
Yeah.
And here we are, yo.
In regards to my question about love and how has it yielded him results, he said he wasn't thinking in terms of business, and he agreed that it's definitely a weakness. So I'm perplexed with this though, as a believer, because we post everything we do was supposed to be out of love, but I think we misunderstand love. I think sometimes love is me slamming the door in your face and saying God bless you.
Mm-hmm.
Love is not always me having my hand out, me accepting everything that you present to me.
Yeah. And all right, to expound on what you're saying, I agree with you in totality. I think that we should have 1,000,000 doors open though, and we should be able to also close 1,000,000 doors. You know what I mean?
Yes, I would agree that we should have doors open for as many people as possible and be as patient as possible. But I also think, what's the word, that we should be as fierce as a serpent, wise as a dove.
Mm-hmm.
I also think that we have the responsibility to recognize when there's a snake whose only intent is to bite you, and know where that limit must be drawn before you allow them to get too far.
I don't know. I think I've blindly helped more people than I have by assessing people. And I understand what you're saying because it's like I have a family. So
Right.
before I let someone in my home, it's like, yo,
people don't understand that though, bro. People, especially people without a family or people that make bad decisions, they would say, I thought I was your nigga.
Yeah.
And you telling me I can't have a couch to sleep on when you know I'm homeless right now? Yeah. That ain't love. You supposed to be a Christian.
Yeah, but I can also, the Bible also says, judge with righteous judgment. So, like, yo, bro, if you're weird, I'm not about to make you around.
So your opinion of me being weird is righteous judgment.
No, that's not. No.
Bro, but like, you realize
my righteous judgment is if I see you doing weird things around kids, would I bring you around mine? No.
Right.
No, I wouldn't. If I see you trying to talk to my wife every day and I see you down bad, am I about to bring you in my house? No, because my wife is supposed to resist you? No.
Well, if you got faith in your marriage, then why are you insecure? If I can sleep with your wife, that's a problem in your house then.
Go talk to the pastor. Because I ain't one.
But you know that's how these niggas be, bro.
Yeah, go talk to the pastor. Go see if the pastor will let you in. Hey, go talk to your hotep niggas.
Love is love, King.
Yo, hey, look, go talk to anybody who also has themselves desired on being loved. And it's like, yo, irregardless as to what you do, judge with righteous judgment. I don't know what the hotel people say about it because I ain't studied it down to that degree or whatever, but
Peace, God.
I'm not about to endanger my family for anybody. Like,
Right.
unless I talk to you enough, unless I know you, and then you're still not going to live with me. Now, if I have money to put you into a hotel while you're trying to get your shit together, oh yeah, I'll do that.
Right. Come on.
If I can help you find a roommate, if I can help you build a resume, because like we try to create these things to where, like, all right, helping the poor is only homing them. It's like, no, on a biblical basis, it says, give a man a fish, then he'll do what? He'll go hungry again, right? But if you teach a man to fish, never be hungry again.
We're at.
That's how you do it. You teach people to fish. That's generally how you do it. And then when you teach people how to fish, when they have needs and things of that nature, and you know that they're asserting themselves in life, then it's nothing for you to give the shirt off of your back.
Yeah, that's a fact. And that's where real love is depicted.
There you go.
But people who overstep boundaries and demand so much of people don't want you to teach them how to fish. They want you to fish for them. They want to eat at your table. They don't want to create their own table. That's not how we are today, especially in modern Black America on a large scale.
Yeah. That's where leadership and like representation comes into play. And do I believe in leadership? Yeah. Do I believe in blind leadership? No. No, don't blindly follow anybody because they say that they're going to make your life better. Like, I'm going to make your life better. Like, anybody who says that to you is not genuine, because how in the hell do they know that? I'm going to try and help you make your life better. Are better words to say.
That's a good point. You can almost guarantee there may be malicious intent behind somebody who would guarantee you that.
Yeah.
You on to something right now. That's a nugget I think to take from this. Because a lot of times I have that issue with trying to understand, like, if people's true intentions are good for me. There's no way you can honestly in your heart guarantee something like that to people. And not be concerned that it's going to weigh on you when they face disappointment, because you can't guarantee that.
There you go. And then
I always go into anything like, hey, bro, let's see what happens with it. If they do it, we can. We just got to put in the same amount of work. I'm always going to put the pressure back on you. We got to work at it.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Like, you talk to anybody who has any successful trail in anything, they're going to tell you that they failed before they got to where they got. It's like, well, all right, let me try. And the more you try at things, the more that you put honest effort forward towards things, the more people are willing to help you.
Let me read this comment. Yushin coming with some deep stuff. Like, I gotta really pay attention to his comments. In today's concept, it would be applied to the fact that love fights the economic gravity of doubling the load of life, because complete compatibility is incomprehensibly hard. Complete compatibility with what? Maybe that's what's throwing me off. If you're still here, bro. But there was another one up here.
I know that's with the love thing, because that means that you're gathering more people. I get what he's saying. Okay. In today's concept, it would be applied to the fact that love fights against the economic gravity. You pulled it down on me, but hold on, let me. Can you pull it back up?
It's up now.
Maybe it's moving slow for me. All right, there we go. In today's concept, it would be applied to the fact that love fights against the economic gravity of doubling the load of life. That's marriage, bro.
Hey, bro, from here on, can you speak English, please?
That's marriage.
Yeah.
That's doubling your load on life.
Okay.
So that's you plus one other person. And then adding towards that, which is what we ultimately strive to do, is kind of have children.
And I was joking, man. No offense when me saying, can you speak English? But if you could bring your comments to a little bit more simplicity for the basic niggas like me, man.
Because complete compatibility is incomprehensibly hard.
Right.
Because I could be saying this wrong, and if I'm saying it wrong,
I don't want to miss his points because it sounds like he's dropping gems. But
if you're saying that compatibility is incomprehensibly hard, I think what you're saying is nobody is guaranteed a mate.
Before I go down that bunny trail, I would like to see him clarify that a little bit. Family Value said 1 Corinthians 13:4-7 says love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. That's a load, bro.
It doesn't say that it's not disagreeable though.
But the hard part for me is the end. It is not irritable or resentful.
Yeah.
I am both of these things with the people I love. That's just me being honest, bro. That's the difficult caveat in that for me.
Well, I think you have to remove those things with feelings as opposed to the way that you talk to people. I can be irritated with you and still talk to you as a decent person. You know what I mean?
Act in it though.
So I don't think that that's complicit with feelings.
You saying we got to learn how to deal with the feelings so we don't present anything less than the standard of love to people.
He said that's why I support her. Bro, get out of here.
And me and the wife talk about this, man.
Yeah.
The word God in itself, meaning the creator. And then the word says that God is love. One thing I've really been trying to make popular, like just saying it, I started playing around it saying to my kids, like, I'm God in you right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I really believe me saying that means like I'm building you with my love. In a sense, guiding kind of coincides with that.
With my words and my actions.
Yes.
God built everything. He built,
so I think by love
with his words.
And then by love, positive, affirming words and actions and love literally build the people around you.
You look at God built the word with his love and he forgave us by his actions.
That's so good. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, that's
and that takes us back to forgiveness. That's at the center of love, and that's we all know how difficult forgiveness is. It's easy to say you forgive, but what does it look like is what's always difficult for me. How do I present forgiveness to people who expect me to still act in the same way I did before it happened?
And that goes into that resentful thing at the end of what love is, because when somebody crosses you, resentfulness is hard to get over.
Yeah.
Because man, it's really hard to divide like resentment and judgment sometimes. So really, it's a really thin line between the two. It's a thin line.
So let me ask you.
Go ahead.
And I want to take you out of this because I'm careful about my words. If a man enters a father's home, a man who was a friend to the family, someone the father trusted, protected, felt like, yo, I can leave my family with you, you can treat him like your own, and that man molests that man's child, what does forgiveness look like for that man between those two individuals? Does it look like him still back in around my family, able to regain that role of the added protector? You get what I'm saying? Or does there or you know what I mean? How do I know then that it isn't resentment if you create that boundary and never let it down again?
This is the beauty in life.
Okay.
Is that our kids grow up. So that's the beauty in life. Our kids grow older. Our kids are able to respond and communicate more. So you don't have to necessarily be resentful towards that person. Your kid knows, you know, and then when that person enters a room, because that person ain't entered into your house, because that's good judgment, that's righteous judgment for you to not let that person that afflicted your family into your home. But if that person still continues to go to the same church as you, or if he pops in the church or pops in a building that you're in and you're like, I still want to kill you, then you know that resentment is still there. But your daughter's 18 now. Yeah. Your daughter's 20 years old now. That's the beauty of having children that age or whatever. So it's like, yo, I can always look at you as like you're a child molester or whatever, but that's not necessarily what you're always going to be. Right. I wasn't always the greatest person. And then that's what our belief teaches us.
I can rock with that. I can rock with that. So, but there still is an acknowledgement that the dynamic of the relationship can change.
Yeah. Okay. Well, God never says that love stays the same constant, like those things. Like, can you bring that scripture up one more time for the one time, if you can find it? Love is patient. Love is kind. Love does not envy or boast. It's not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. The hardest thing in that is the resentful part. And then when you're resentful, that adds into insisting on your own way. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. And how can you be truthful without breaking some hearts?
It does not rejoice at wrongdoing can be tough.
Go ahead.
Somebody does you wrong, it is quite rewarding to the flesh to want to see something happen back to them. Or when it happens.
Now, in that, I never even thought about it like that.
Yeah,
I've never thought about that like that. Like I would toss that in a resentful category. Like when I think of like rejoicing in wrongdoing, I think of rejoicing in wrongdoing as like your homeboy say he about to rob a store, he robbed the store, and you're like, nigga, you got him. That's rejoicing in wrongdoing to me. You know what I mean? But you got it. You change you changing my mainframe on it a little bit. But rejoices with truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things.
Bro, the Bible is tough, bro. Like a lot of people don't understand. Like the Bible is tough.
Yeah.
Like for people to get out here and act like it's just like being a Christian is like some air of superiority. No, this requires you to come low and be really humble to be able to understand and digest the things that are expected of us through Christ's example. You understand it can only happen by his grace, bro. There is no way a man in his own strength can consistently do any of this. And then it says hopes all things. How? Bro, we live in a world of doubt, bro. How? And family values.
We live in a world, bro. Like you naturally.
Real quick. So she can get going on this family values. Can you find the scripture about faith that describes what faith is? Since we're talking about hope, because I want to connect that to show like how hard this is. But go ahead, bro.
I mean, well, if she gonna jump into the mustard the mustard seed joint, yo, like
no, not that.
Oh, okay.
But go there.
To me, I think faith is hard. A lot of people teach that faith is easy, but if faith the size of a mustard seed can move a mountain, how hard is it to believe?
Wow. I was ready to argue with you, and you made a solid point. Faith the size of a mustard seed is all it takes. Then what that tells you is that most people don't even possess a mustard seed of faith. I'm gonna push back on that. And here's my perspective. And this is where we're gonna kind of meet in the middle in a strange way. I think this is a yin and a yang. I believe faith is easy. And I believe so many people believe faith to be hard that they don't really access it.
I believe a lot of people's faith are based off of like dopamine and serotonin hits, emotional drives that hit them for the moment, but when life gets hard, they don't have it anymore.
Yeah, I can respect that. I can agree with that,
because that's where it gets hard. It gets hard because, man, let me. I could pull up some scriptures too. So let me.
While you looking, then let me give you my pushback, and then she got hers, and then we go with yours.
Okay.
I think the difficult thing for me there is when you think about why most people don't believe in God, don't believe in Jesus. It is always typically one, they can't cope with the idea that their trauma, their molester, their rapist, their father who left them, their abuser, whatever horrible traumatic thing happened to them can still just be accepted by God by just believing in Jesus. It's usually some deep level resentment, especially if the person who did it to them was a Christian. That becomes a major stumbling block for people, and they tend to cannot either agree with the idea of God because of that level of radical grace, or they don't believe that God can really exist and allow that. So in a sense, that's still them being angry with God. So I don't think that it's so hard for people to access faith. I think most people don't want to believe faith is as simple as it is because it feels like a get out of jail free card, and it's in our flesh as human beings. Like, our minds have adopted the worldly idea that we get what we put into life. And point blank period, the idea of grace is hard to comprehend, especially if you're what's considered an accountable person.
So if what somebody else does to you makes you hard to believe in God anymore, then it's like, well, where was your faith in the first place? Will be my beginning argumentation to that. Now, to the person who actually committed the crime, I can actually see why it would be hard for them. But life is difficult, bro. Life is difficult for a lot of people. And this is why I say that tough times happen to people. Like, I agree with you, like, on a certain extent to what you said. Like, I feel like there's a bunch of people who came hurt already.
When you say came to
like,
Christ hurt?
Nah, not necessarily. Like,
or came in the world hurt?
Ant. I'll use Ant as a like, he had an issue with it. He had an issue with him before he developed his faith.
You said who?
Anthony.
My friend?
Yeah, because he lost his mother, and yeah, in the story that was told to me, I'm like, well, yeah, bro, that's a tough thing to divide when you think that that's who killed your mother.
Do you know that I got an old head in VA that literally has that same issue, bro? Same exact issue. He's like, I don't even want to hear you talk to me about God because my mama went to church every Sunday. So why you got a mom and I don't?
But we're supposed to bury our parents, though.
Yo, who did I have that conversation with recently, bro?
But we're supposed to bury our parents.
I had that conversation with somebody recently, bro, and they was like all upset about the fact of this parent died. And I'm like, you know, you're not supposed to die before your mom. That would be hard on a parent.
It may have been me. Like, I had that conversation.
That was you, because you had that issue.
Yeah. But my mom wasn't my biological mother.
Right. Yeah. You're right, bro. I forgot we talked about that.
Yeah. But I didn't have an issue with
point.
God about it. I didn't have an issue with God, but did it test my faith?
Right.
For sure.
Exactly. And it's always going to be tested, man.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's always going to be tested. And I think the hardest part of the test is reminding ourselves to give it to God. I think we try to take on so much responsibility for fixing ourselves. And for me, honestly, the minute I just give it to God and I remember Christ and my mind set on him and what he did, I can begin to move forward again as if he's living the life for me. And then I look up and I'm like, man, I just accomplished some stuff like that I shouldn't have been able to get done. I don't look like what I've been through. When people meet me, it's always like, yo, what? You've been through what? You came from who? And they like, nah.
So in our society now, when you have faith in a thing that is outside of yourself, it's like, yo, imagination land don't exist, bro. Get out here and get to it. And then I'm like, I steadfasted and I waited. You know what I mean? I waited because whatever I had planned wasn't going to work out for me. And sometimes that works out. More times than not, it worked out for me. Let me actually put it like that. It worked out for me more times that way. There's a lot of plans that now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. For by it the elders obtained a good testimony. By faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of God, so that things which are seen were not made of things which are invisible.
I was interviewed recently and asked what my favorite scripture is, and I can never word this, bro, because it's just so powerful. But I'm like, Hebrews 11, and I can never word this. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Like, how do you, aside from a God, a creator, a supernatural being outside of the realm of man's understanding, place that into words? What does the substance of things hoped for mean? How do you bring to substance your hope? That's what faith is. And it presents the evidence of the things that are not seen. So you're telling me acting in faith produces the things that I hope for and displays what is not seen? Bro, that's out of this world. So when you say it's hard for people to believe, I think it's hard to take the gospel in simplicity for a lot of people. Because especially if you grew up in the black church, they've made us believe it's so much you must tarry for in order to get far in God. And Peter, the same Negro who denied Jesus, Jesus told him he was going to do it. Peter said, not me, God, I would never. Maybe one of them suckers. And when the time came, the Bible says, Jasmine, if you can get it again, that scripture about Peter, the one we was talking about the other day, Peter denied Christ with cursing and swearing. Not just denied him, but he said, what the I don't know that fucking nigga.
Yeah.
The fuck? Hell nah.
But see,
don't be mad at me for cursing. Peter, in the Bible, it says he was cursing and swearing, and he was the one that Jesus said will be the rock I built this church on, and is the most renowned apostle of all time after denying Christ with cursing and swearing 3 times.
And Paul said this in Philippians 4. I'm gonna start off at verse 10, and I think I'm gonna end in 13 because you know what Philippians 13 says. But it says, "How I praise the Lord that you are concerned about me again. I know you have always been concerned for me, but you didn't have the chance to help. Now that I was ever in need, not that I was ever in need, for I have learned to be content without whatever I have. Without whatever I have, I know how to live on almost nothing or with everything. I have learned the secret of living in every situation, whether it is in with a full stomach or empty, with plenty or little. For I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Most people don't catch the beginning of that verse. You're muted, but
That's the hardest part for people, bro. If what you just described right there, I think that is the hardest part of accessing faith. Read it one more time.
And I'm reading out of the New Living Translation. So this is Philippians 4, and I'm starting at verse 10. How I praise the Lord that you have concerned about me again. I know you have always been concerned for me, but you didn't have the chance to help me. Not that I was ever in need, for I have learned how to be content with whatever I have. I know how to live on almost nothing or with everything. I have learned the secret of living in every situation, whether it is with a full stomach or empty, with plenty or little. For I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
I think contentment is the biggest issue.
That's a Western society thing, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Contentment, maybe that's why I'm not thinking of it on a world scale, but I mean, Western society, that's half of the world. And I think that's the biggest issue for people nowadays, with so much distractions, so many examples of what you think you ought to be, so much comparison. Contentment is a major issue for people. They don't believe things will be better because they're so busy looking at their neighbors and what everybody else's life looks like, and not realizing social media is a highlight reel. It's a highlight reel. We shouldn't be looking at anybody's life on social media and basing ourselves off of that.
I agree with what Tyler just said. We have that's deep. We have been conditioned to be discontent. That's a for real. We live in a life that's better than it's ever been. Our forefathers have not at all experienced life on a grander scale.
So let me address this comment, Ali, and I'm hoping you're being sarcastic, obviously. So we are working to make all persons in the world gay or trans, and we will achieve our goal. We are already closer and closer. So yeah, I want to believe that you're being sarcastic, but there is somebody obviously out here that is working to do that. So I'm just hoping you're not really part of that team, but we obviously are well aware of that agenda, and we plan to do everything in our power to fight against it. In fact, I was on a Vice panel here recently that will be coming out airing in March. So I intend to link that in my community posts and on my Instagram at Driscoll757 when that drops. Then I'm gonna cover it here as well to do a reaction to it. But we kind of touched.
If you could please expound on that comment.
Yeah,
I would love to
yeah, let's I'm
well.
okay with derailing the conversation in that direction, definitely, Ali. And if you want to come on the panel and discuss it, even I dropped the link already if you want to
for sure
cam up.
For sure.
Yeah. You ain't got to cam up, you just want to talk, that's cool too. But yeah, man, that's the thing. It's contentment, bro. People look at me and my marriage, and I'm sure you have the same experience, as an example a lot of times. And they're like, I hear people say, you two family values are my dream couple. And that is just so powerful to me. It's like, yeah, we can get to the comments in a second. Let me just get through this point. It's so powerful to me to hear people say that, because I'm like so humbled by it. We're not that family that's out here posting pictures with matching outfits. you know, at our big house and our kids coming down the slide in their backyard swimming pool.
Yeah, you know,
we literally, like, we came from nothing, bro. Like, you know, to a degree, we went through hell and back, and people have got to be with us on that journey and see that process and still relate to us enough to say that. Now, some of the people coming in now, they see where we're at today, and they don't see the testimony. So that makes me realize, like, I used to be prophesied, like, you're not going to look like where you came from. And I'm like, that sounds cute. But I see that now every time I begin to tell people my story, even not even my childhood, just the last 6 years, they're like, nah, that's crazy. Like, the grace of God has to be on you. And I think that's the beauty when we step into faith. We gotta be able to embrace what you was just saying, and that contentment, and not be looking at other people's lives to see what it's supposed to look like. I'll never forget running into this guy in Ross, bro. And I think I was homeless at this time, bro. I'm homeless with we had 3 kids and 1 on the way, bro, living in hotels, and I'm driving Uber every day, just trying to make enough money for the hotel the next day. And I'm in Ross with my family, and this dude comes up to me and says, my brother, he was African, he was like, you are successful. And I'm like, what? He's like, you are the definition of what's successful to me. I'm like, what do you mean by that? And he's like, man, what you got here, your family, this structure, this unit, this is what success means to me. The world would define success by other things. But this right here, what you have, is real success. And we need more of this out here. And I'm like, damn, bro, it changed my life forever to hear him say that. Because you never look at yourself the way other people do. You look at yourself according to your problems and not according to
bro, I was just getting ready to tell you, bro.
Get into it.
I'm like, bro, you don't know how close, like, me and my wife have been like, yo, is this gonna work? Is this gonna work still? Like, we still gonna make this happen? And we could be talking, like, as men, we could be talking like the submission game. We could be talking about what our females do for us, but they get fed up sometimes too, yo. Like that's not.
It ain't submission if they ain't challenged. I said that the other day. This chick, my wife was on this panel. This chick go talking about, well, if it's a good leader and he doing the things that we agree with anyway, it's easy to submit. I'm like, that ain't submission. Submission is when you don't agree and you allow him to lead you where you don't agree with, because he's the head of the household. When you're submitting to the king, you ain't always going to agree with it. You're going to do what the king says.
But that's faith.
Come on. Because if you understand that he has God as his head, then you can pray to his boss, sweetheart. And the boss, it's the boss job now. That's what my wife said. My wife was like, you know what? I had to learn to give it to God and say, you know what, God? If you got me out here following this man, it's on your hands what happened to this family. And God said, that's exactly what I wanted, baby. Checkmate. Put it all on me. That's what a man says. Put it on me, baby. If I said he the lead, follow his lead.
But see, God get praises for what you do, though. And then you get blessed for that. Because you're not, even though you're like, hey, yo, this is the role that I'm supposed to accept, you're still like, yo, if you generally talk to me, it's not all me. So
what, it's not all God or all you?
Huh?
You saying it's not all you?
It's not all you. Like, you yourself as a person, you're not making your life better.
No, I'm saying God's the one saying it, put it on me.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Right. Yeah. People want to make it about the people, and they don't accept that God gives favor.
Because nobody ever says God made Martin Luther King great. People are always like, Martin Luther King by himself was a great man.
Right.
He was a great dude. Like, that's what happened, like, when idealism pops into the scene, because then you start talking about people and their ideals as though they're gods, and they're not.
I disagree. I think that it's okay that people say that, because the Bible, God says, I will make your name great.
That's cool.
Yeah. I think if you're submitted to him,
if he did it,
gets
if he
glory
did it in God's name, should God still get the glory for it?
he gets the glory from it.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. He gets the glory from the people who preach and teach his faith, going out here and completing his missions and his tasks. Why wouldn't he get the glory? See, it's how we look at it. Like people always talk about slavery, and they say that the white man taught us this religion. I said this the other day, and I'm like, well, then that means God should get the glory for us coming out of slavery, because when we was praying to the ancestors, y'all want to give all the praise to them. The ancestors didn't stop us from going on them slave ships. They watched.
You about to get some comments now.
They watched us go on them slave ships. Now, once they taught the white man suddenly teach us about this God, we done prayed ourselves out of slavery. And on top of that, y'all seen the Nat Turner movie. Y'all know, like, this was something that they were trying not to actually have us learn. They didn't want us to hear. He could only read certain parts of the Bible. They didn't want us to access true faith. So then on top of that, let me bring this to a head and I'm done. The power in this is that God began to raise up the people who had slaves. He began to raise up a whole group even of white people who starts the Republican Party. And essentially our president signed the emancipation of us. And yes, I know everybody didn't go free. I understand Texas, Juneteenth, cool. But the majority went free from God raising up white people to literally fight a war against their own race to see us come out of slavery. That's only something the power of God can do. That type of movement cannot exist in man's heart alone. And the ancestors weren't able to accomplish it.
Yeah. And adding on to what you said about people calling Christianity the white man's movement or whatever, the slave Bible had several pages torn out of it. And on a historical basis, I know this bores people when I talk about stuff like this, but on a historical basis, if you trace the Bible back, you trace it back to Greece. So it's written in Greek and it's written in Hebrew. And you can always go find things that translate the Bible for you. Like, we live in an age of information. So you don't have to read the ESV. You don't have to read any certain translation. You can literally just read it from the Greek, and the Greek is literally translated word for word. You can do that on the internet right now.
Yeah, Blue Letter Bible, I believe.
Yeah. So I think the LGBT community has an ongoing contradiction where they celebrate themselves as special and different, but crave for more people to live their lifestyle.
Woo! I like that. That is contradiction.
Mm-hmm.
That is contradiction. And on top of that, that's always everybody's problem with it, is that if it's so amazing, why aren't you just lost in it? Why do you need
the acceptance of other people? Why do you need the acceptance of other people?
Unless like, it's become a religion and now your job is conversion.
There you go.
You don't want to admit it. Yeah.
So if it's a quality based, it's like, well, all right, let the laws passed. But now you just hating. Well, we need to take the word husband and wife out of marriage.
Right.
For who?
Right. I mean, because I DJ weddings, and I know for a fact that at these ceremonies, people will say the brides, they'll do whatever you want at your wedding. You don't have to take that out of any laws.
Hey, look, I got into an argument with my wife, and when me and her were arguing, she was like, "Hey, look, whether we together or not, I'm always gonna have your last name." And I was like, whoa, yeah, bro, threw me for a loop. I was like, well, I got to stop arguing at that point.
Hey, bro, ladies, you need to clip it. Did you see what just happened? If you argue against submission, you will continue to miss the value of what just happened in that man's heart right there. This man said a woman telling him that if we don't work out, I'm keeping your last name. That says I see value in you. and I'm not ashamed to remain attached to your legacy. That's how you push a man forward. Not by nagging him, not by complaining, not by getting on social media and telling everybody what's wrong with the man. You tell a man something like that, you will change the course of his destiny. God's giving you that power as our helpmate, wives specifically. Changed your trajectory, bro, with a left field compliment. My mom walking around with my dad last name right now.
Word.
And you know, and I've heard her say plenty times over the years, I need to get my name changed. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Got married and went back to his name after that divorce.
I'll remove your mother from that because I don't want to make it personal.
Yeah.
But I think so many people leave relationships without saying that they want the relationship back. Pride is a mofo, bro.
The Holy Spirit that walked in the room today.
Like, I want you back. What is that? What else does that say?
I want my family back. And why wouldn't you? We're designed this way. It's not nothing to be ashamed of. Feminism lied to you. It's not a flex to be a single mom out here. It's not a flex to say, I don't need a man. You do need a man, and you're going to feel it in your old age if you don't feel it in your young days, because you ain't always going to be the hot thing that everybody hopping in their DMs. There's going to come a day where the attention dries up, and then you're going to be looking for companionship. And the men who are looking for companions don't want the people who threw men away when they were hot. We want you while you're hot. We want to enjoy your hot years.
And then you go and share your hot years with your daughters, like for real. Like that's how you create. That's how you create wives. Like that's for real. It's like, well, don't ever trust in no dude. Don't ever do this. It's like, well, the men who teach their daughters how to do that stuff hang around men who have very little value to themselves. And you can be an average dude and still have value. So I'm not saying that just millionaires are just saying this thing.
Yeah. And let me say something too, because I feel the Holy Spirit on this. And me saying that doesn't mean to be terrified as a wife that if I get old, I'm going to be replaced. There's no replaceable value to a man than you giving him your youth and giving him your life. Once you have sat here and raised my lineage, there's no way I can repay you for that. You cultivated my legacy. The inner value now, the bond that's created in that, when I look at my children, I fall in love with my wife. When I see her in them, bro, I'm like, yo, they sweet because of you. I couldn't imagine if they was just like me. I love the beauty of marriage.
Look,
bro.
I took my daughter's phone. She'll be 18 soon. Just recently gave it back to her, right? And gave her a phone. And when I say recently, I'm talking about like in the past, like couple of months or whatever. And today she woke up and just hugged me like out of nowhere. Like left field. She was mad at me for a minute though. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. Like when I took that phone, bro, when you got teenagers, bro, and you take them phones, anybody in here who got teenagers just know. Take them phones from them, they different people. But I took my phone from my son. It transformed him into a completely different human being. He became a better person without his phone. And didn't even know it.
That's deep.
I'm like, bro, I took your phone from you. And then when I took your phone from you, bro, you start washing the dishes without me asking you. Like you didn't have to check a chore board or anything of that nature. You didn't expect no gold stars. You're just like, let me knock this stuff out.
See, you a good man, bro. See, the resentful person in me, I would have said he just doing that to get his phone back.
Yeah. No.
That's how I see life, bro.
But like, all right, I've done this on multiple occasions. He's had a phone since he was 15.
Okay.
So in the latter years, first time you got away with it. Second time, possibly got away with it. Third time, you ain't getting away with it no more. Dog, I'm not giving you your phone. And I'm like, the minute I see you slipping off of the person that you presented in front of me, I'm taking it again.
Real rap. I'm with you, bro. You got to get creative, bro, especially when they get to that age.
Yeah.
And that's real, bro. Like we can't even picture what the world would be like if we had to actually communicate with each other in person and accomplish things, because we couldn't sit on a phone all day and feel like we actually interacted with life.
I think we would be the same way as we were before. Like we would deal with a little bit of uncomfortability, but if we had to do shit in a face-to-face thing, it'd be uncomfortable for a little bit, but we'll get used to it because
Do
that's
you
what.
feel we are less connected today though because of technology?
Man, in a nuanced way, we're more connected than we've ever been.
I agree.
In a nuanced way, but in a real life way, we're more disconnected because it's like, what can I say around you that doesn't offend you? Because you're the offense police now.
Well, but
because even like working in the workplace, right? If I'm working in manufacturing, like bro, after COVID hit and people got online educated, because that's when I know the internet existed before then, but after 2020, bro, like stuff changed drastically. Right. And it was beginning to change before that, but it changed drastically. And workplace changed drastically. The workplace is not the same as it used to be pre-COVID.
Okay.
So when they use the word the new normal, there is a new normal in workplaces or whatever, because you don't have the ability to control what's going on in there.
I see that even here in AZ, like the housing market shot up because everybody was moving from Cali with their work from home jobs, buying up the houses for cheaper in Arizona. So
I stay in Michigan, so it was already largely Democratic here. So
okay.
And I don't man, I even changed my status on Democrats because I've actually had some really, really deep conversations with people who were on the left, but they're not leftists. Right. And I have to put them in different categories. Like that person's a Democrat or a liberal, like true term liberal. I don't look at you as like a leftist, as an extremist or a progressionist or anything of that nature.
It's too much nuance for me. I look at it this simple. I look at it by how you stand on abortion. And I know a lot of people would highly disagree with me on that, but if you with killing babies, we ain't on the same team. If you think that it's even okay to waver on that issue, I don't. And when I say we ain't on the same team, let me correct that. I don't mean that we can't interact and love one another or have a relationship in real life. I mean that we're probably not voting on the same side if you're willing to leverage or wager with that issue.
Yeah. When it comes down to political issues or whatever, just to give you a nuanced take on the way that you look at that. As a conservative or whatever, after you talk to people, after you like generally talk to people and like look at polls or whatever, it's like, well, all right, I'm a part of this party because a majority of the people agree with me, but it's not entirely 100% like leaning that way. And the party that I lean on, and I'm against abortion just because in my libertarian way of thinking, it's an act of aggression. And then on a godly way, I kind of look at life as at the point of conception. So it's my not only is it my religious view, but it's still my political view as well, because I consider it to be an act of aggression. Even though one of the fathers of what we consider to be libertarianism, which is Murray Rothbard, spoke against it. And I disagree with him on that. I still consider that to be an act of aggression on an unliving body.
Well, I like to see that people within political parties can disagree with their constituents, because that's important to me. We can't just be a monolith in any circle. And I think I disagree with most conservatives on a lot of issues.
Yeah, because you're a creative.
Right.
Yeah.
But I also agree on a lot of key issues, and that's enough to keep me.
Yeah. Well, I learned this from Milton Friedman. There's the things that we want to see that are visible to us, and then there's the invisible things that take place. And that's not speaking against anything that you say or anything of that nature, but I think having connections and being able to talk to people as opposed to looking at everybody as your enemy, because I think that's ideology. Ideology creates enemies.
I like that, bro.
That
challenged me to see things differently, actually.
Yeah.
I like that.
And when ideology creates an enemy, and then when you look at other people as enemies, extremists tend to do this: is everybody is wrong except for me. And when you're on those grounds, you're on some shaky stuff, bro. You're on some shaky stuff. That's how genocide ends up popping off.
That's a good breakdown. Let's get into this comment because I've been wanting to dig in it for a second.
Let's go.
Yushin had an interesting one too, but he tried to get in here. Looked like he was having issues with his device. So if you can work that out, bro, we would love to have you in here.
For sure.
So Ali said, and do you think that the people who control society, I mean the elite, are afraid of the alpha male? Because the alpha male is attacked with a lot of violence. We present him like just a gangster or dangerous. Weigh in on that, please, sir.
That's crazy. In what I understand an alpha male to be, it would almost be like executive positions, like in dominance. Not even necessarily executive. Let me withdraw that. In tested times and tribulations. Like I know, Driscoll, you've been in the military or whatever, and I don't know how true this is. I don't know how true this is, but you can actually speak on it. Like I've heard like a lot of people who enter into the military, don't necessarily respect the people who come in with college degrees.
That is true.
Okay.
Not necessarily that they don't respect people who come in with college degrees. They specifically, the enlisted side, don't respect the officers.
Gotcha.
And
go ahead. With as prevalent as that is, there's a reason for that, or is it okay?
The reason for that would be this. Typically, in order to become a chief in the Navy, you would serve somewhere around 10 to oftentimes 20 years before you make chief. Some people don't make chief at all. Some people will get out retirement at the 20-year mark as an E6. So you can be a chief in the Navy and have an officer that is straight out of Annapolis Navy Academy, 22 years old, telling you what to do.
Yeah, I can understand where that would be an issue.
That's an issue. Now, typically, it depends on the culture of where you're at. If you're on a ship, the ship life is something different. A chief hold weight on a ship. You know what I mean? Because when you out there in the field like that, they oftentimes are training those junior officers and they're teaching them life at sea. But if you're anywhere else, yeah, a lot of times the officers, they should be respecting the chief's shield still, but it doesn't always end up that way.
Man, that's wild. I mean, like,
any of my Navy guys in here or military guys from different branches want to even elaborate on their experience with that.
And do you think that people who control society, is that the same thing that you read?
Yeah, so I want to weigh in on it then if you don't really got much more on it. Let me bring Yushin up. I want to hear what he got to say too.
Oh.
Yo, what's up, my guy? You feeling, man?
Yes. I'm feeling all right. Thanks for asking.
Awesome. Yeah, glad to have you, man. Do you want to weigh in on this one?
I don't know if you can read the private chat, but I'm not exactly a military guy.
No. The comment that's on here right now.
Oh, I see. Where were you guys in the conversation while I was?
So
no, you ain't got to speak on that.
Because I can. Because I can.
No, go ahead, bro. Yeah, go ahead, bro. We're not sensitive, man.
All right. Where were you guys on? Because I think I got what he was trying to say.
So let me get in here. So for the alpha male question, pretty much you presented this, Smitty, from the understanding that you believe the alpha male would be the businessman. And I think the difficulty with this is that most people have a different depiction of what they would call an alpha male. Some people feel the alpha male is the ruthless man who sleeps with a whole bunch of women and refuses to commit to any.
That's the beta, though.
But is that how it's seen in these spaces typically?
Well, there are a couple components to that exact interpretation, right?
Go ahead.
You start off with,
and remember, break it down to us like we're fourth graders.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
I'm trying to hold me. Okay. So if I was to explain sexual philandering to a fourth grader, I would start with like, you know, when your mommy gets bored and like really gets bored and then starts cleaning aggressively. Mm-hmm. Sorry, that's how I would explain sexual philandering to a fourth grader. Like, yo, you're gonna have to level with me. This is what happens when I try to be simple.
All right, get it. All right.
Okay, but Casanova, right? That's the name I'm trying to drop.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
That's a whole arc. That's a story in modern like archetypes of.
That's a fact. That's historical. Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You had Casanova, the original like philanderer dude, but what you didn't have was the economic aspect, nor did you have accurate historical representation of syphilis.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't told that he and a bunch of women just died eventually, painfully.
Wow.
You know?
I think that's a key component to know. Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's what got us through the story of telling it, being like, huh, you're Casanova. The implication was you're going to catch an STD and die, if not live horribly. Like, but nowadays it's like, ooh, you're a Casanova. And you're
I was about to say, though, is that the like, feminist spin? But it sound like you're saying that was the original spin.
Yeah, absolutely. That was the original interpretation of like, yeah, you remember that?
Predates
Casanova?
That predates America. Like that's Grecian times. That's mythological.
I don't know. Last I heard it was Renaissance, but you see what I mean, though.
Yeah.
No, I mean we still see that in the culture today. Though,
that's what I'm saying.
That hasn't gone away. Yeah,
and that's my take on it. It's like, what's the alpha male? And the only because I thought when he said like, what the previous. Can you go to the previous comment just so I can like kind of. Okay. Because the alpha male is attacked with a lot of violence, and we present him like a gangster or dangerous.
That sounds like he's insinuating that what we call gangsters and dangerous men are alpha males.
Exactly.
And I think I can't agree with that. Yeah, I can't agree with that.
So what we've come to, and if I'm getting the conversation right, is that there are a bunch of people who have slightly different definitions of an alpha male, but feel like one.
Okay.
Right? And that's why they're so vouched in it. They're like, no, this is what makes me alpha. And it's kind of like, that's what happens when you, it's the word when you put human qualities onto a animal.
We're not speaking sociopathy.
I don't know the word,
but
I know where you're going.
You know it's there. And that's what I mean by this is, and then it gets to my point, which I have several, which nobody will hear tonight. One of which being that, like, I went too hard, I went too deep. The language you speak isn't contained by your own brain.
Okay.
Right.
Where is it contained?
The language.
You're saying it exists outside of it, right?
Exactly. Right. And it's a means to an end, but it does exist.
Okay.
It's one of those things that, like, if you go gabagool, did I do gobble? Is that a turkey or a chicken? I messed up the chicken, but like, you know what I mean? You can communicate differences despite the fact that languages are becoming increasingly deficient in content.
Okay.
So this is you right here,
Explain
right?
this one to us if you can.
So you said it's hard to practice healthy, non-toxic love that can sustain itself in even basic psychology. It is difficult to continue being healthy, let alone with one more person you rather understand or don't. What does that mean?
I think what I copied from somewhere was, it's just with more people, so it's not a specific term of 1 or 0, because I mean that's the rabbit hole I'm down
Yeah,
right
we're not. Well, I don't want to say we're not doing a binary, but that's generally it is. Generally, it is a binary. So
Let's speak in binary then. Yeah. Okay. Counting is fake. Okay. So you either understand or don't. You either understand. Not that you'd rather understand or not. It's not a choice. And that's what compatibility is. It's a comprehension of each other's mechanics so that you can actually fundamentally easily share, because you know where everything's going to go.
That's why choice exists, though, right?
I mean, ideally.
Yeah, but I mean,
but like, I'm stuck, homie.
Based on what you're saying, that's why choice exists.
I'm always calculating on free will. All right, I'm always right.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna say, then, if that's the case, the way you broke that down, I don't know if I believe there is true compatibility. Then,
well, that's clearly not the answer. It just isn't. I'm sorry. Like, I've run that script too many times. Like,
I think the answer in there where you're struggling with it is that the connecting piece is God. But I mean, even from an agnostic point of view, could I have a point? Maybe.
You're absolutely on the money.
Okay.
And that squares back even harder to the last thing I remember talking about. Which is that language doesn't exist in you.
You're getting there.
And unfortunately, it is my displeasure to tell you that sometimes when you say things, it's because you just don't know how to say things otherwise.
Okay. I can agree with that.
Right?
Well, what about the man who said it otherwise and then found out that the otherwise thing works for him better? Does that break your sociological?
Yeah, you got some wires frayed there.
Yeah.
I mean, not that they weren't already, but okay. Completely. I don't know what to comment about that one on.
Yeah, you I think you're gonna take the Jordan Peterson approach to get to know God.
Oh, I mean,
yeah.
No, he can. He can
kind of. He knows what I'm doing right now.
He comes from a religious family, so
I can see that. I can respect
that. You come from a religious family,
absolutely,
and that makes it difficult. I told you that, Smitty. One thing I found interesting about working in the gentleman's club is that most of the girls that danced came from religious families. And I think that blows a lot of people's mind. It's like when I talk to them, get to know their story, it's always, I was molested by my grandpa, who was the pastor in church, or my family was so harsh to me about making sure I dressed with clothes to my knees, and I was called a whore for every little thing and treated horribly by people who said they love God. So that's literally 99% of the case, like with almost every girl that I met there.
Okay.
And I found that very interesting. That kind of upbringing would lead you to do that type of work.
Wait.
So I would ask this question: with being raised religiously, right, and knowing that those type of things can happen, coming from a religious upbringing, what do you teach your kids to stop them from being what you automatically know that they'll possibly be from being raised, from being taught from a overly religious home?
You're saying, how do you save them from it?
Yeah, well, or how do you stop them from going down the same avenues that you went down? Because I mean, I come from the same background that you came from, to where when we were younger, everything was sin. And the only way we were ever going to be saved is if we stopped sinning entirely.
I think all three of us are the curse breakers. I think we're the curse breaker generation, and we teach our children the appropriate way.
Well,
And
that raises the question of
what is the
appropriate?
Yeah, what is the appropriate way?
I think
here, hold on, let me start this clip.
You're gonna have to ask the question again then.
All right. So what is the appropriate way to raise your children?
This is not gonna be the politically correct answer.
By a man who was raised in an over-religious home.
This is not gonna be politically correct, and most believers are not gonna like this. But the appropriate way is literally the way that you know in your heart God leads you. I don't think there's no blueprint for every man. I don't think there's a blueprint for every family. There can't be, because that would mean we're all inherently the same.
Go ahead.
My brother. Yeah. I mean, that's my answer.
That we would all inherently be the same if it were the other case.
And say it one more time. Say it one more time.
I believe that the answer is what God leads you specifically to do, and you know that to be the case. And if you don't know that to be the case, then you have to seek his heart and literally rest in his wisdom, and not like try to manipulate it with what you think is best, because I don't think it can look the same in every family. I don't think what works for my household is going to work for yours, because you have a different set of people in there with different ideas, different backgrounds. I mean, where y'all are today is going to be responded to differently than where we are. I don't think me and you can raise our two kids the same. But I think your experiences and what you know to be incorrect, you can teach against that. And I don't even think that's just on the spiritual level. I think that's just basic principle. If I know financially that some of the things I seen in my house set me back as a man, maybe I shouldn't teach my kids those same things.
No.
I think it could be that simple, man. I think we get caught up trying to follow other people's blueprint, and I think there's no way to be great like that. I think you're always gonna make a mistake trying to follow someone else.
Yeah, and I know you want me to respond to that, so I am. I cannot disagree with you, because everybody's biblically growth with Christ is individual.
Yes.
So it comes on a relationship. It comes on a level of relationship. So I can't pull up a scripture to oppose anything that you're saying.
I'm gonna say something radical, bro, and I'm gonna say it for the record right now. And people are gonna hate this, but this is the example. And like my man Yushin said, you either get it or you don't.
Yeah.
People have criticized me for being a Christian with dreadlocks. People have said,
bro, you know my story, so I
and we can get into it. We have had a pastor ask me when I was going to cut my hair. I have had comments made on our YouTube channel that said I would be better received with a clean cut. No, my bad. This was on my music video. I'm a rapper, and I was so you would look a lot better with a fresh Caesar. So check this out. You know, I was in the military prior to 2016. I grew my hair after I got out as a grown adult father. nobody would ever think, could there be a reason behind that? Bro, God told me to grow my dreadlocks. I'm okay looking crazy on this live stream right now. What people don't understand is that he needed and still needs people who look like everyday people and not the cookie cutter idea of what a Christian is. If everybody looks like the pastor, then the people who don't look like or feel like they can relate to the pastor will never come to the faith.
Yeah. And this is prophesied on me when I was young. And I'll come off as the crazy dude now or whatever. But I've always been a rebellious spirit. You know what I mean? And
you
in my rebellious spirit,
the logical person for us. We needed you in here, man. I appreciate you coming
through. When it comes down to this, like this was prophesied over me. Somebody was like, there's gonna come a day where people are gonna be like, yo, I want to be more like you, and I want to be more like you, and I want to be just like you. And you're going to say, like, no, you don't want to be like me, you want to be like God.
Bro. Come on.
And then I never seen that with I never seen myself fulfilling that prophecy with me looking like everybody else. Bro, I'm the one person in here with a tattoo on his neck.
But somebody needs that type of connection to be
I
able
relate
to
to more people than I don't. And then here goes the crazier thing. Like, I talk to people and I can have intellectual conversations with people and they don't even know it because of the image that I present. They don't even understand that, like, oh, this dude just not like a straight up gangster.
Yeah.
Like, bro, I lived a street life, but I didn't live the street life.
Come on.
Like, I did crazy stuff, like not to get it bent, but like I didn't look for validation. I was never a validation person.
I tell people all the time, I am a hood guy. I'm not a street guy. I have never played in the streets a day in my life, bro. Never. And I grew up in the hood. Everybody around me was doing that. But I can only, it's the grace of God. Like Family Value says, when you look statistically, my dad was in prison throughout my adolescent years. My parents are divorced. I have every reason to have taken the paths of my neighbors.
Me too, bro. I grew up next to Coke Dip. Well, I did. Bro, hold on. I did do it for a minute, but
yeah.
I had no reason to break it. I had no reason to break it, though. You know what I mean? Like, there was nothing. There was like no outside influence. Like, I mean, you know, the people I grew up with from childhood, and these people didn't know what I was doing. And then even in that sense, they're like, yeah, this dude can't do this. This dude can't do this. This dude can't do this. Like, bro, like if you look at like me on what you thought was my worst, nigga, I was worse than that.
Come on.
I was worse than that, bro.
Don't nobody but God really know the worst of us.
Yeah.
And everybody can say that. That's a fact.
Yeah, but well, you know, the church is separate from the streets, bro.
Yeah.
David wasn't no street nigga. Leonard wasn't no street nigga. Tommy wasn't no street nigga. Those were niggas who had niggas that was in the streets, but they wasn't street niggas, dog. I was out here
hood nigga church boys. Hood nigga church boys.
Yeah.
That's what we all were. I mean, for the most part. Maybe you not as much, but that's what we all were.
Yeah.
What's up, bro?
Oh no, I was just like,
what'd you say? We just hood nigga church? No, I'm just playing with you.
Can't say that. Can't say that to someone who looks like
I'm playing with you, bro. I'm playing with you.
Yeah, that's what it is. You're right. Yeah, bro.
He is just a hood nigga church boy.
Hey, man, I can turn the camera around.
Gang, nigga. Like what?
Look at the new project developments. They're Airbnb all time.
It's all good, man. I want to get more into your story if you're open to. After I just want to read this comment real quick. Family Value said parents are imperfect.
Mm-hmm.
Trust God with your kids and teach the kids to have a relationship with God and show them what that looks like by your example. The reason I love this on a practical level is because it takes the pressure off of us a bit as a parent. I don't mean that we can be chill and lackadaisical about it, but I think parents get so caught up in trying to make sure they drive the rules home in their kids, and sometimes that's running kids away. Sometimes you got to teach them by your example. Let them see what success is supposed to look like. Let them see what respect, influence, whatever looks like. And then you teach them to have a relationship with God so they can know this is where I got that wisdom. You turn to him when all else fails because I can't be there with you at all times.
I love that, bro. Parents are imperfect. Trust God with your kids and teach your kids to have a relationship with God.
Yes.
No parent that has ever existed, I'm talking about from Adam and Eve, have ever known what they were doing.
Bro.
There's no amount of literature that you can read to teach you how to raise your kids. So it's completely incumbent upon you, but it's so weird to the fact to where I'm about to. All right, here's the nuance to the point. If nobody ever knew how to do it, how was it ever done right? Outside forces.
Begs the question: what is right?
Now you getting deep on us, Yushin. What is right, Smitty?
Well, you want my definition or the working one?
I want your definition.
All right. Well, my definition is whatever people agree on.
Nah.
How many? How many people
definition.
though?
That's
how
why
many
it's my
people
definition.
though?
Whatever.
What if you and Smitty agree, but I don't agree?
Okay, so
give me 1 second. I got to use the bathroom
right,
for
bro.
1 second, but
I gotta really delve into that one, don't I?
Okay. Because I think to a degree there has to be a community aspect where there's some kind of majority at least.
Of course.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
But now you start getting into majority, which is a mathematical term.
Yeah.
Which eventually becomes a political term.
I like that. I agree.
Right.
So the only fair leveling field then would be for the idea of what's right to also exist outside of our ideas.
Language just outside of us.
I like that smile, man. I like that smile.
Thank you.
Let me see this next question. No majority rule is dangerous. That's what we're getting at.
Thank you.
We're getting at. Yeah.
Thank you. So that's exactly why I smiled. You saw that, right?
Yeah.
Politics.
Absolutely.
So, okay.
No, go ahead. You got something?
Yeah. So politics, jumping into like a whole meta kind of retro of it. It's hard to ascertain human choice, right?
Okay.
Right. Okay. Counting isn't real. Let me start with, you give these humans a bunch of numbers tied to a bunch of made up shape thingies. I'm really breaking down language there.
Right.
If you give them that, they magically come to a choice
to utilize it.
And that's where I present you today with the numbers aren't real.
Well, I can agree with you on that aspect. So, but what you're not entailing in that information are the influencers in said people who influence the votes and things.
Thank you.
Well, how can the numbers not be real? You say the numbers are given a value that's sold to people, correct?
There you go. You answered your own question. It's advertising. Politics is just advertising.
But if it's given a value that people accept, then that makes it real.
Well, there's never been just playing devil's advocate here. Not saying that I agree in totality, but just playing devil's advocate. Most presidential votes are within the 50 percentile. So that means half of the country votes one way and the other half votes. So it's usually like a 1 to 2% chance. And let's say that 1 to 2% is false. It would almost make sense to you.
I'm about to have to cripple that, bro. I think that implies that the majority of people vote according to what they believe in, and I don't think that to be the case. I think most people vote for what they believe to be popular with no idea of how it aligns with what they believe in.
So fundamentally, politics.
So what percentage of people would you consider to be sheep?
Hold on. Let me get. I want him to lose his thought. Go ahead.
He won't.
Okay.
I'll write it down if it's important. I'll write it down.
Okay.
If it's important. Like if you say on the record, I will literally record it. So
for all right, what was the question? What percentage do I think to be sheep?
Yeah. What percentage of people in America out of 330 million or 330 million?
I don't like that question because I think 100% to be sheep. It's just what you're sheep to. That's the difference.
100% are sheep.
I believe so.
So are you saying you're a sheep?
Yes, but I like to believe I'm a sheep to Christ.
Yeah. Man, come on, bro. Hold on.
I'm not trying to cheat my way out though. I mean, to be fair, that means I don't have my own ideas completely.
That was
okay.
Am I not being fair, Yushin?
But I don't think that's 100% of people though. You don't think? I do. You don't think even like 12 or well, like let's even go lower than that. You don't think 2% of people have thoughts of their own?
I mean, they have thoughts of their own, maybe to a degree, because it stands outside of what most people think. But it doesn't mean that it necessarily comes from them. I think there are always channels out here I think everybody's following something.
There's a comedic route and there's an actual route that you're taking.
Okay.
The actual route is that, yes, we're all being scripted to one nature or another, and everything has an end. Right? You know, when you reach full risk, when you play Risk and your army spreads out and you establish homogeny, like if the whole United States is sheep, then it's probably one type of sheep that is most successful. Like
I can respect that.
Right. And then we're all different flavors of sheep on top of it.
Yeah.
We're like, hey, I'm rainbow because I like other sheep. And it's like,
But I think within each sheep community, there are also different levels of success or ideas of what success is.
Okay, so now where there are sheep, there are wolves.
True.
The comedic route here is that, can you imagine an entire continent full of nothing but sheep?
Full of what?
Nothing but sheep. Like you go outside and it's just, hey, there's another sheep.
Okay, where are we gonna put all these sheep? People have to be wolves. I wasn't thinking about that aspect.
Well, I mean, we don't have to because we're not a cult channel, right? Or where are we?
Well, maybe they don't have to be wolves, but some people are wolves. What is what matters the most.
Well, that's the thing, right? If you dressed up a wolf and trained it really nice, is it possible to put it in a fluffy costume and be like, hey, it's a sheep?
Wolves look like sheep often, yeah.
So out of one person that I consider to be extraordinary, would you consider Jordan Peterson to be a sheep? Asking you, Driscoll.
Yes. And I believe that I believe that God was using him before he publicly confessed his Christianity.
Well, now you're adding, and then you're using God. So
I said that I'm a sheep to God. You can't. I mean, that was literally what I said.
You're a sheep to God. You didn't say we're sheep to God. You said
I didn't. I said there are different everybody's a sheep to something.
I think on a biblical level, I think you should really define that because everybody isn't the sheep.
I think you should get me perfectly well.
Huh?
I'm gonna conjure two things which I've been saying.
You said you don't think I should get to perfectly what?
No, I think Yushin is understanding me perfectly fine.
So let me get you 2 points. First of all, the numbering system, homie is right, is arbitrary based on advertisement, collection, so that's a whole scientific thing of how we even got those numbers and how accurate they are. But also the fact that measuring things is hard.
That's a fact. I agree with you on that.
It's pretty difficult, isn't it? Like, can we get some? Sorry, I'm used to Twitch. Wrong content platform, but yeah.
Let's measure this. We got a good compliment here.
Okay.
What do you think of the rap of today? They have no political influence anymore. They're only talking about bitches, bling bling, and killing each other.
That's stupid because
Hold on, let me finish the question.
Yeah.
Killing each other. Where are the Tupac energy, the Eminem messages, etc.? Now you can take it, Smitty.
The beginning statement and pull it back up just so I can read it again. It says, what do you think of rap of today? They have no political influence. P. Diddy literally has shirts that it says vote or die on it.
And Kanye's wearing White Lives Matter. There's plenty of political influence.
There's political influence wherever influence is created in general.
What was the Lil Baby song that was highlighting BLM?
I forget the name of it, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, this stuff is out there. But now, as far as they're only talking about bitches, bling bling, and killing each other, I think that's also part of the political influence. When you look at the fact that the private prisons are owned by the same people who have shares in these record labels.
Down.
That makes it politicized now.
Yeah. Can we also talk about the fact that that's a loophole in the Constitution? Anyone seen 13th?
No, I wasn't aware. Break it down for us.
So the 13th Amendment, you're aware of this, signed in by Lincoln or the person who came after him. It entails that all men are free except for felons. That's the short of it. And through that, it's just become this whole way of putting them in correctional facilities with no redemption at hand. You know, they're exercising this whole arc of humanitarianism and they're not actually compensating for it on a legal level.
Yeah, I mean, this is difficult for me to say. Well, I guess not. I guess it's not difficult for me to say because, like, most federal laws, bro, I don't really like to do. So
I don't really need. Woo, homie.
I don't know how I don't know how federal like the Constitution is though. Because they were created, like the founding fathers were created before federal law was. But
all right, bro. So it is 1:03 where I am at. You telling me you want to be on here all night? You trying to do that right now?
Let's talk about it.
We don't have to stream it. We can cut. We can get.
Let's talk about it.
Let's go.
So
record, right? On the record here.
On the record. Let's talk about it. Let's go. Lay it out.
We were just discussing and breaking down this whole part about the rap influence.
No. Let's talk about the, or is that where?
Yeah, that was out. That was the 13th.
Yeah, that was what we was on. Yeah.
Okay.
Because the 13th makes it so that once you're a felon, you can never undo felony.
Mm-hmm.
Which is practically the same as being given a position in society that you can't remove.
So you saying y'all? I didn't know this. Are y'all saying that felonies can never be removed from your record?
I don't.
No, that's not where I'm
know the logistics of how legal felonies.
But then I also stand that felonies should never get in the way of things that are constitutionally standing anyway.
Such as
Second Amendment rights.
I agree with you.
Freedom of speech.
I agree with
Absolutely.
you. How does a felony get in the way of that?
Well,
it depends on if you have to go to court for violating or what other people consider in this day and age to be a violation of that. Because, bro, I can tell you to look at the most I can tell you to do is look at this channel called Audit the Audit. And
okay. I'll do some background research on this.
Yeah, and that shows you that most police officers conducting police searches, like Terry stops and things of that nature, don't know the law.
I know that. I know that from personal experience, especially when it comes to gun laws, because they don't like them.
Yeah.
I had that experience myself where a cop pulled me over, and in Virginia Beach, where I was living at the time, if you got a concealed carry permit, the city police had on their record that you were a permit holder when they pull you over and run your stuff. Now that's unconstitutional in my opinion, but I mean that defeats the purpose of me having a concealed carry permit. Now, to me, that says you don't want me to exercise my right, which is constitutionally, to also defend myself against tyrannical government, because you as a cop could possibly be tyrannical, not to mention there have been people who have been killed and robbed by people impersonating police officers. I have every right to conceal my firearm from a cop. Now, some states require that if a cop asks, you have to tell them that you have a firearm. That wasn't what happened. He pulled me over and seen it in his system and popped off at me. Why you ain't tell me you got your gun? No, he said, where's your gun? I'm like, in my glove department. Why you ain't tell me? You don't think I want to know that? I'm like, no, I didn't, because you didn't ask. And this turned into a whole thing, like with him trying to lecture me on how important it is I let him know, because it's dangerous to him and he might be afraid for his life now. I'm like, if you're afraid for your life because I have a lawfully obtained firearm, you don't need to be a cop.
Yeah.
I'm not breaking the law by having a gun.
Yeah.
So I know they don't know the laws, bro. And that's just one incident. But when it comes to certain things, they don't know the laws. They are kind of given free reins to just exercise stuff a little bit beyond what's within their rights. So
like most people don't understand that like police stops are considered the legal term of it is Terry stops.
Right. Can you pull up that video I sent you while we talking?
Yeah. We can.
Because the whole ain't no political influence in rap. I mean, it's taking over now. You even got what they call MAGA rappers now. I don't know if y'all have seen that, bro. He's like, what? That's a thing, bro.
That's not a thing I like.
I mean, but it exists. That's what I'm saying. So the idea that rap is not having political influence is definitely not accurate.
Rainy, I don't know if you want to be in here for this conversation, because we about to jump into some other shit. But
man, he good, man. He know how to say when he done.
If you don't want to be here after this, then I understand. I won't take it personally.
All right. I might just dip during the middle of it once it gets too much.
So. Hey, was he the one that asked that made the statement earlier about gays taking over? Was that him?
No, that was Ali.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That women should wait till they're married to have sex, but at the same time, we also hear from the men that they don't want to get married anymore. So what do we do with that?
Seems like it's true, because nowadays a lot of people are looking at marriage as a contract rather than a partnership. And there's a huge difference between that. With a contract, there's so many times and many headaches and this and that.
All right, brother.
It's been lovely.
Hey, hold on. Hey, real quick.
Yeah.
And if you got to leave, that's cool. But Smitty, this ain't the video I was talking about, bro. I had sent you another one.
Oh, hold on, my bad.
But yeah, we appreciate having you, Yushin, man. You ain't got to stay any longer, but know that you're welcome over here at any time. If you got a channel, you want to shout it out real quick, bro. Do your thing.
Absolutely. I do music and kind of like personal vlog style things.
Okay.
You know, I don't keep it too consistent, but I'm trying to.
And this how they can find you is just like you spell it right here.
Yeah, just how it's spelled on YouTube. Yeah, that's my YouTube.
Hey, don't leave though. Don't leave though.
Well, I mean, like,
hold on, because it just changed. So
no, that wasn't the conversation direction. That wasn't the conversation direction.
Oh, you sure? Are you sure?
No, I'm 100% sure he played the wrong video.
He sent me the video again. So
okay. Because like, oh, I felt my anxiety levels spike. Ooh.
I want to know why too later, if you don't mind.
We can get into that.
It's voting season, bruh.
No voting, no loving. No voting, no touching. No voting, no nothing. No voting, no fucking, no voting, no fucking. No voting, no loving. No voting, no touching. No voting, no nothing. No voting, no fucking, no voting, no fucking. BLK app looking for some action. Swagger homie Scott was heavy. Face is a 9, abs a 10, D is a
Hey, that's good, bro. You ain't got to play the whole thing.
Oh, he don't seem.
Was that the message?
Thank you, God.
I think I got that message clear. I think it went through. I could be misreading it right now, so let me just lay it out.
Yo,
let me just lay that out.
What did you just have me watch?
That, bro.
But you just have me here.
You're not gonna tell me rap ain't got political, bro. Hold up, Taylor. Hold up, bro. Yo, I can't with y'all, man.
It's the, like you're holding the most primal part of, you know, family intuitive life back, and you're saying be responsible first, and then based on how you scored on your voting sheet, we can talk about fucking.
Do you think, Yushin, that everybody should be able to vote?
Vote for what?
Political leaders.
Yes.
No age limit?
Age limit.
Okay. What about you, Smitty? And when I said everybody, I mean felons, like there's no exceptions.
Like, yeah.
That needed that. I'll explain.
The democratic system, to me, though, is kind of broken because it's really easy to rally stupid people to a cause.
Ooh, word.
It's really easy to do that. It's really easy to do it when you can put shit in movies because even though I told you, like, I talk to like left-leaning people all the time or whatever, and certain people, some of them can make good arguments or whatever. On to your thing. It's like it's very easy to sway people. So should majority always outweigh what is moral?
Majority should never outweigh what's moral.
I've got quite a spicy brain soup, if you may.
I already know you're gonna say what's moral. I already know you're going there. I already know it. Before you say it, I already know you're going
I've already
there.
reached that conclusion. Like, homie, you're speaking to version 1.7. This is version 1. At least 9.
Okay.
A lot of decimals between the 8s and the 6. So I wrote it down, right?
Okay.
What you're looking at is a statistical failure to evaluate correctly. Right? It's computationally accurate. Because if you add some, you're looking at statistical failure there.
And if you were, well, yeah, no question.
So, what is?
Well, I can't say that. I can't say that.
Let me break it down and get spicy with it. Counting doesn't exist because what are you counting?
Well, I might agree with you now.
There is an answer to that, and it's rooted in Greek philosophy called the atomics.
Mm-hmm.
There's
bro, don't do it.
Smitty.
You gotta show the question mark afterwards, bro.
Just straight.
I forgot to put the question mark behind it, and I had to add it afterwards, bro. You gotta take. Hey, everybody who watched this, there's a question mark behind this. Like that is not a statement. That is not a statement.
So if I'm getting scientific,
yo, I'm clipping you up tomorrow, baby. Got him.
You got him.
All right, go ahead, bro.
So the answer is molecules. You're counting molecules. Scientifically.
I don't know about that, but okay.
Like,
well, you know what? I agree with that. Well, explain. When you say we're counting molecules, are the molecules the ideas?
Okay.
If you're going to go into the electoral college, I get what you're saying. If you're going to go beyond that, then explain yourself.
I don't think he's nowhere near that.
Okay, I'm at the electoral college.
Okay.
Because
y'all must talk a lot. Y'all talk a lot.
There's something in statistical analysis called querying. And if y'all break down the root, it's basically a fancy way of saying, what is this?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's what a voting sheet inherently is. It's a survey of people you prefer and ideas you like better, except it doesn't have a strongly dislike, neutrally dislike, like, you know, it doesn't have that. Politics is too immediate of a statistical analysis, and you need a yes or no, a 1 or 0 from people. You're forcing them on a 50-50 split, and that the human choice does not exist on a 50-50 split, and that's what surveys try to rectify. But even when you take political surveys on, like, oh, who's gonna win the mock election because we ran one a couple seconds ago, like, even that doesn't compute, because people could always change their guesses last minute right before the test, which is the electoral college's ballot that they send out.
What do you think would be a better system? Or should there not be a system?
I think science is lacking to the point where we need to build a language that will compute a better system.
Do you participate in the system if you want to share?
Oh, do I vote? No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you of age to vote?
Recently.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's get into this one. And since you don't vote, I guess you don't necessarily have to answer this, but if you got an answer, that would be dope. What are y'all's thoughts on this? And or maybe should we ask her for context to why she says that?
Should single women vote?
Correct.
So,
and no one can say that's sexist at this point, or maybe they can. You possibly could blame the patriarchy, but go ahead.
What does that imply?
The statement?
No, like the qualification. The classification.
Single women shouldn't vote. Yeah.
So
like, expound on that like a little bit more as to why they shouldn't. And then and then we can have a conversation on that.
Can you do that? Family values. Can you expound on why you believe that, so we can have a basis for the conversation?
Because I can say a bunch of crazy shit off the top.
I could
of my head,
absolutely talk about the numbers again. Like we could go there.
But to speak on subject, because I mean, we just had a panel on here last night, Rainey, talking about child support. So it's like, let's get some terms defined. Yeah. And I understand what you were doing in the beginning too, Phil. And I look at that, I was like, yo, that was weak argumentation in the beginning.
Oh yeah.
But like, it's because of my overall view. Like when you ask me those questions, because of my overall view, it's really hard for me to answer that.
That's what's hard. It's hard for people to separate themselves from their beliefs. And I think that can only happen if your beliefs truly exist outside of you. And that kind of goes back to
you ask me singular questions to where
you shit is getting like flustered in it.
No. Like, all right, a singular question as opposed to me having an ideal that conquers like a level before that. Like my ideal is like 1964. That's the beginning of my ideal. And then it's like, even when I was talking to you yesterday, like I was gonna say this, but I'll say that for part 2. So let's keep it moving.
All right, yeah.
I'll save it for part 2 because that's more relevant to that point. So
cool. All right. If we're still loading up that comment from Family Values, I had a thought about the thing when I started orbiting and wrapping my head and getting flustered, because you spoke on something really, really primordial just then.
Me or her? Or that person. My bad.
The stream I just joined. Yes, the host, I suppose. Actually, who's the host tonight?
I'm the host.
Yeah, host. So
let me see. How do I get the names up here? Oh, I got to take the comment back now. Okay.
The ideas that exist where exactly? I think you're muted.
I said outside of you.
Right. And that's primordial.
Okay.
Because if it can exist without you, who says it didn't exist without you?
I believe it did. Yeah, that's deep. It doesn't depend on you.
And that's why I have the working definition of what right is, to swear back to like 30 minutes ago as I windfall this conversation earlier and earlier. What I believe is right is what I believe is most effective for as many people as possible.
I think that's a common idea.
And the only reason I bring that forward is because if you're truly acting in what you believe is, the intent of it, I'm not going to gender it. I'm not, I'm just going to place it as the variable.
Okay.
God is there basically to do algebra so we can move some numbers around and get to a reasonable answer.
So, were you done with your idea?
Oh, right. And all of that I just said is possible because language does not exist within you. It is merely ideas forming in your head into a language.
Mm-hmm.
That's my idea.
So, I mean, well, with that being said, like even with language or whatever, is morality existent to you?
It sounds like what he's saying is he thinks it comes from within you.
Yeah. But does morality exist within your idea though?
Well, within, without, right? That was the distinction Driscoll TV made.
So you believe it's within or without?
I believe it is from within most recently.
Okay. Well, that means that's you must have gave your life to Christ before. As a child.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's why. Because it is from within you then.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot to uncover just because, like,
you didn't have to be set aside. Like, if you don't believe, if you didn't believe in that, then
well, no. I mean, but I think once Christ is inside you, if it's genuinely inside you, then by default, it doesn't come out because you change your mind one day.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'll stand with you on that, but I'm just saying, like,
I think just for the basic understanding of my idea,
because if you have an idea outside of that, I want to talk about it.
I think he's being pretty honest, bro.
I don't have much, like, sorry, as I just really move around the studio here.
Oh, good, man. We all unprofessional tonight.
Because me and you will have like a talk. Me and you have talked. Me and Rainey. And you, me and you have had. We've had really deep talks or whatever, and he's exposed like some really deep ideas to me, and I'm like, yo, that's crazy. But you know, I still stand in the like faith challenge, but not changed like category. So it's like you can speak freely or whatever, because it's not like a thing to where we're here to win.
Bro, God has different people with different assignments and different timing, and what your walk gonna look like ain't what his walk gonna look like. He may not.
Well, I'm not speaking
Hold
against.
on, let me finish my thought. He may not have seen eye to eye on things that you two have said, but it doesn't change reality. You know what I mean? Sometimes God will water another seed somewhere else. But I think he's been honest. I don't feel like he's been showing himself afraid to talk or speak his heart. I think he's just like, we can agree on that reality, even if I'm not willing to give it the same level of credit that you are. I think that's all right.
Yeah, well, I wasn't testing to see whether or not he was being genuine or disingenuous.
Okay, cool. Cool.
Yeah.
That's what I was making sure, because I don't feel like, I don't want him to feel like we think he's being disingenuous at all.
Yeah, and me and him talk like on a regular basis, so you know, I wasn't putting that idea out there. And I really appreciate you for even joining this. It's so crazy.
You changed the whole conversation, bro. Real rap. Like, we would have been done by now. So I appreciate you. Yo, you derailed it for a good cause. Like, you really made us have to. You made us bring some things out. You know, I wasn't planning to be this vulnerable.
That's never been said since the Cowboys tipped that one train that one time.
So we got the answer to family values, if y'all ready for it.
Let's go. Let's pull it up.
Let's do it.
So she says it implies that a married woman has the covering of a man to help guide her. A woman without a man can be easily manipulated and led by her emotions.
Mm.
And then she expanded one more time. She says a married woman is influenced by her husband, while single women are influenced by media and other single women.
So single women shouldn't vote. All right. Can I play devil's advocate? Can I play devil's advocate for
whatever you feel in your heart?
All right. So just playing devil's advocate right here. So a single woman shouldn't be able to vote for her singular choices because she's not a double vote for her husband.
I think that's the idea. So it sounds like you're saying you think that she should.
Just playing devil's advocate. I don't think that she should.
Well, I think that's what we're trying to get now, is what your opinion is.
I don't disagree with it. I just want to play devil's advocate. Like I just said, I'm playing devil's advocate, like, because nobody in here disagrees with it. And I just want to ask questions.
I think she was already clear about the answer to what you're asking now. We're dragging it out at this point. Wow, unless we're not reading it the same way. It sounds like that's exactly what she's saying. Especially this one, because it sounds like what she's saying is she doesn't believe a single woman's choices will be based on what's actually best for humanity as a unit.
The only thing that I can amplify in there would be like widows and things of that nature. Like, would they lose their voting privileges if they lost their husbands?
That's a great point. That's a great point. So it sounds like you're saying you think single women should not be excluded.
I agree with her in her stances in the beginning. I just wanted to ask questions because, like, to just take that in because we're on a show where we're supposed to talk about things.
So you don't really know where you stand right now. I think that's fair.
No, it's not. Playing devil's advocate is just not saying that.
We're past that. I know what you did. I'm not saying that.
Yeah, I don't agree with it. I'm just bringing argumentation to the point.
Right.
I'm like, well, yeah, because what I said in totality, I already said that like people are influenced already. I don't believe in the democratic system in a whole. I already said that, like before we even had this. So while I'm talking about the democratic system, I'm just saying, like, for talking points, just for the ability to speak clarity. No widows, no singles. All right, that's cool.
What's your thoughts, Yushin?
Let me just formulate one.
Okay.
Because I could be presented as one of the woke leftists.
And then maybe this will help you too for your expansion.
Okay.
But can't you just expand this out to single emotional people? Are all men infallible, logical humans? I think then we start getting into more opinions. I think status makes it black and white.
But if it's on a marriage level, how many women are going to vote against who their husband votes for?
True.
It's just a double vote.
That's the question.
I was thinking about that because if you split the household on a political level, what are the ramifications of that?
That's why I don't think that happens often.
But when you say, all right, well, on a political level, if you look at it like this, if you strip single women out as opposed to married women, what it does is it just doubles men's votes.
Got you. That's a fair one. I like that. I like that idea.
That's the way that I was thinking about it, but like I didn't. I know, like
at that point, y'all say that at that point you may as well just not have women vote.
Yeah, well, if it's going to be like not women voting or whatever, then it's like no women should vote. Then
that makes a lot.
If that's the stance.
And then Taylor further asks, so would you apply the same logic to an effeminate single man? Woo! You got to answer this one, family values. You have to answer this one, family values. Would you apply that logic to a man who is not straight, who is not looking to have a family, who won't have a wife because that's not his lane? The Andrew Tate or the Myron Gaines, who is just like, hey, I don't want to get married. The Casanovas. That's a great question. Or is it just we got to trust all men, but we only trust women with a man?
All right, so she said no, all women.
Okay, no women at all. At least she's standing on the point and making it solid. I respect that. I respect that. Yushin, did you form your idea yet?
I don't know how to put this gracefully.
Don't, bro.
Sounds like sounds like science. It sounds very scientific. You know, you took in some numbers, you did some algebra, like that sounds scientific. Now it sounds vaguely scientific. I'm not gonna say pseudoscientific. It's not that far. You get me? We're at vaguely science. You know, you took some numbers, you did some.
Are you a fan of science, first of all? Because we don't know if that's a compliment or an insult.
It's
or do you appreciate science?
It's an insult either way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry. It was just bad science.
It's bad science. So there's bad science. I like your chain of thought.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't believe there's bad science, bro. It's
What do
just
you
trust the
mean?
science.
Science
You
is
have a
not
lazy
monolithic.
scientist.
Science
Yeah.
is not monolithic, yo.
Thank
So
you.
there is
Whoa.
bad science that exists. Yeah.
Yes, bro.
Sorry, I'm being loud. I'm yelling about science and God. It's about to scare anybody in the house.
The nerve of us.
The nerve of us.
Naughty science.
Taylor, you take that back right now. Taylor, looking at you, bro.
So is science a replacement for God, or is science the God?
Whoa. Okay.
Do we look to science for reality?
Straight up, back up 2 steps.
Okay.
Just
I dove in there, Yushin.
You did.
I'm diving in there, bro.
Can you repeat those questions just so I have them to prompt myself later on? Because I'm gonna just freehand this.
Okay.
It's like jazz every night.
I want to narrow it down to one question.
Oh, okay.
Is science your faith, or better yet, is science your belief?
Okay, and then I'm gonna put in those sub questions that you asked earlier, just for context, because I need a train of thought to like. There needs to be stairs if I'm gonna hit something rolling down, so might as well prepare myself. So is science what was that intermediary term you use? Because the first one
is science your God? Does science replace God?
Yes, that's the one. Okay. Can I do an introduction? Might as well.
Please.
All right. Hi. I'm Ju Chan Park, but I call myself Yushin because I think it's funny. I seriously.
What ethnicity are you?
I'm Korean.
You're Korean. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. You want me to tell the human story or the education?
I think my children are 1/8 Korean, if I'm doing my math correctly.
Oh.
So please welcome me to the family.
Absolutely. Come over to the Korean barbecue cookouts. The things we invented.
He said you welcome to the Korean barbecue. That's
and my wife will enjoy all the what's the sneaky cabbage.
The side dishes. Oh, the sneaky cabbage.
The sneaky cabbage. What's it called?
Kimchi.
Kimchi, yes. Things of that.
I want all the bulgogi. I want the bulgogi.
That's it. Give me a bulgogi buffet and I'm good.
Y'all gotta try marinated short ribs.
I think I've had that.
Give me the bulgogi and the pork belly. I'm good.
Good. Pork belly, bro.
Yeah.
Oh bro. Yeah. Pork belly's bomb, but you marinate it more kimchi style than you do bulgogi.
Y'all the Asian niggas then. That's what that is.
Hey, pork belly is delicious, bro. Whether it be in ramen or whether you eat it with Korean barbecue, it's delicious.
Yeah. So pretty much that's Korean chitlins.
Not necessarily. No, it's not intestines, bro. It's like the lining of the rib.
Okay. Oh, so I could do that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a normal. It's like pork belly. It's not actual belly. It's just like the outside muscle. It's like pork abs. Pork abs.
That sound dope.
Yeah. Thick cut. It looked like bacon. You might as well call it like Korean bacon.
Yeah. Uncured Korean bacon.
Yeah.
That's straight what it is. Just in strips. So yes, I'm Korean. Let me throw in just born in Japan, just for a little bit of fun, and then to wrap up the bow, it's
what part of Japan?
Osaka.
Okay.
Yeah. Southern islands ish, and then the parents made a ministry and then got contacted in a Los Angeles ministry. So I've been in LA since the age of 3.
Bro, if I can real quick.
Yeah.
I just found out how big of a Christian community was in Korea. Why did I have no idea? But we can go there later in the back chat.
Yeah.
But continue, please.
So that's my introduction. And now let's consider this a testimony to science. Right? And I'll explain the reasoning as I go. So I won't deny that I do sometimes use science as a replacement for faith.
Okay.
I won't deny that. However, for me, personally, I use science when religion has failed.
I like that.
If I've intuited my entire way into a situation which God or I or the expression of the idea of God through me deems fit, and I still don't have an answer for this next move, I'm gonna compute. It's just what I'm gonna do.
I like that, and I'm uncomfortable how much I like it because I think the religious side of my upbringing isn't supposed to like what you just said.
No, you're really not. You're
This is
supposed to
why
see
I
it
told
as-
you to jump
as
on
Christ.
Discord, because this is where I met him. I met him on Discord, bro.
That was good, man. I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But sorry
Sir,
to keep interrupting.
He's
Continue.
one. Hey, look, he's one of a million, though. Just to give you that, like for the Discord communities that exist,
he's the light in the dark place.
He's
the brother.
one of a million. But he has a sociology brain.
Oh, yes.
We need those, bro. We need intellectuals. Everybody can't just be the crazy man in the desert building the ark looking crazy. We need somebody in every lane, bro.
We need that one Democratic bureaucrat who's just sitting there yelling about the science.
Hey, we need it.
He look, like let me well, you know what, I'll save that for afterwards. I'll save that for afterwards, because I think you're gonna last until afterwards, and then I'll tell you some of the crazy stuff that has come out of his mouth, like not necessarily like crazy, but like just to give you an idea of how intelligent he is. Like just he's hyper intelligent, and it's like I agree with most of the stuff that he says. Like, and he's been one of the people who challenged my faith challenge, but not changed.
That's good, man. You need that.
Yeah.
But how you gonna present something to somebody and tell them to base their life around it if you ain't been challenged on it? You can't say you grounded in it, man. You need that.
But I'm sorry for talking over you, bro. After this, bro, I'm gonna let you finish your point, and then
well, that's the thing, right? That right there, what just happened right now? Y'all seeing like your own little trajectories based on like my overarching like really chaotic whatever this rainbow looks like. Like it's what, frankly, like I still can't explain that. I can't, and I love it because you're not talking about me. You're talking about yourselves in a thing I did. And it blows my mind because it's the life I've lived that like, oh, there was that. Oh, I missed that person. Like it's a retrospective constantly on what I remember. So
this man preaching, he don't even recognize it. He's talking about me in the thing that I did, but he's acknowledging that it wasn't even me that did that.
Fundamentally, yeah. Fundamentally,
and that's my life, bro. That's the connection between the three of us. That we don't that you, like you said, you can't even fathom a scientific understanding of that.
And that's where testimony comes in.
Yeah.
Because I never did. But like it would happen organically, sporadically. And sometimes it wouldn't. And sometimes people just like straight up close the door on me metaphorically. And we're like, we're just not talking to you. It doesn't matter about what. Like
because what you're saying right now, this makes religion afraid. Because it makes the realities of life deeper than rules and do's and don'ts.
Ooh. Whoa.
Whoa.
Because when you can exist outside the rules of do's and don'ts, and still be able to do the unexplainable, now you got to question your faith. If my religion was tied to that,
when Paul said that when he got saved, that he came in conflicted, he came in a sinner. Like, yo, if you could pull up that scripture in Romans, family values, that would mean the world.
Yes, and while she does that, while we on this topic of science and faith, Taylor Dean says science is an attempt to understand and explain the physical realm and theorize about what's beyond, always changing, which is why trust the science is BS. Yes, because it's based on theories, bro. There are no complete facts in science.
Science is not monolithic. Science is not monolithic, and though you is not here or whatever, it's It's almost as though he's like, well, when, all right, well, yeah, you're back now. I'm happy to see your face again. But hey, look, it's God in science.
Thank you.
Yeah, bro. Let's talk about it. Is God in science?
No.
No,
and that's what makes
at all?
science. At all.
No.
You know how? Let me tell you how.
Let's do it.
When you paint something in a negative image and you only reveal the canvas, what are you doing?
When I paint something in a negative image, I'm creating a falsity.
You are. You're creating the absence.
Yeah.
But the absence of a painted circle creates what? It's the illusion of a circle. And it remains an illusion because the physical property did not touch it. The bounds of art cannot touch the object you have created. That's what a negative basically is in art.
So it's saying, are you saying this? Are you saying that science is anti-God? Or is God anti-science?
Oh, interesting. Interesting. Okay, so fundamentally the way I processed it was that science can only optimize for the upper limit. So the upper limit of what you can actually compute before the thing just doesn't work anymore. Because you have to remember, the way we get numbers is through repeated objective experiments.
And I hate to go this deep with you in this room, but like Neil deGrasse Tyson expressed this. He was like, did you know that there are different dimensions of infinity? There are more things that you can explain than things that you can explain. The difference is in infinity.
I can see that. Where we going with that though? Is that pretty much make it clear that there must be an answer that's way bigger than science, or a knowledge base that science can never comprehend fully?
I think God allowed science to happen. Jordan Peterson actually stated this better than I ever could. He says, science tells you what things are. Religion tells you what you should do. And not being a religious person, but the belief in your faith tells you what you should do. The relationship that you have with Christ tells you what you should do. Your convictions tell you what you should do because they're inertly, they are inertly inside of you as a human being.
So to that, I have to add, how conditional is the science you're doing?
How conditional is science to what?
Wait, to the...
If this is the first time that I broke your brain ever, I'm about to be proud of myself because I've never done it. I've never done it. I've never broke your brain before.
You ain't do it. Don't be proud of yourself.
To be fair, I was distracted.
Okay.
Yeah. I have to agree with what you said, but I need to ask you to redefine it just a little bit. Just so I know you can do it again. For science.
To go back to the beginning of what I said, the beginning of what I said was there are different dimensions of infinities. There are more things that exist that you can't explain than things that exist that you can explain. And then I also went on to say that I believe that God created science because science tells you what things are, but religion tells you what you should do. So those are the two statements that I made.
Okay, hold on.
You do the same thing I do I've been doing for a little bit, is writing down the things and then talking about it.
Dude, it's such a pro strat. I don't know who started it. I don't know who put it in my brain, but I'm so glad I have a notepad now.
You write it down, then you write down the problem, and then you create the the solvent for the issue. Yeah. I know where you're coming from. Yeah.
Science. Monsieur los I don't know what to call scientific units. So I have to add something to your definition of science.
Go ahead.
So science is not fundamentally to tell you what things are. It's to tell you what they aren't.
Okay.
So how do you do process of elimination?
By saying what things aren't. Yeah, you're right.
And how do you test the hypothesis?
By figuring out what they are.
By figuring out if they match your
thesis.
Functional
definition
your
thesis. Yeah.
Of how it behaves.
Yeah, your thesis. Yeah.
Right. You have a whole doctrine, practically a doctorate, that defines exactly how your critical theory just manages to actually compute, and everyone else sees your math, and it's correctable, and you can use it as a tool to refine a question you have otherwise. That's what a thesis, it's a blueprint to reach another thesis. That's the idea of scientific peer reviewing has been, at least in theory, for the past, I don't know, 20 years?
I ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Do you think we've ever reached the moon?
Yes, and for one reason only.
Okay.
We were able to construct the Blackbird SR-1.
Okay.
Which would have sealant properties capable of upper altitude and atmospheric flight, which is only a step away from vacuum inclusion.
Okay. But wouldn't that like not to strip away and say that like science also doesn't add in to telling you to what you can't do, but does science not also tell you what you can do and your limitations? Does science give you limitations?
Does science give you... Dude, science only gives you... Like, science just assigns variables that have ranges. Driscoll, are we keeping up with you at all right now?
I'm gone, bro. I ain't I'm beyond out of the conversation.
Would you trust me that there's actually a conversation happening right now? Would you believe me if I told you?
It appears to be so, and there are still people in here watching it. So,
interesting.
Salute to those people. Maybe it ain't for me, you know.
I mean, hey, Chief, hydrate. Just stick with us. It'll get interesting.
But when we bring this full swing, I do want to remind you of a question I asked you earlier that's off this topic. So I want y'all to complete your thoughts on this.
Okay. Science, exists within a framework of everything we've conceptualized as a species so far. That's my conclusion.
Because science isn't monolithic, in my closing statement on it is, I don't think that science is absent of God.
Okay.
I don't think that it's absent of him. I believe that he exists in it. In miracles and things of that nature, especially like in the past. I think that they're hard to prove. And I think that's also why faith exists. But does God exist in science? I think one of the bigger things that people have faith in is the Big Bang. And I think that is a religious view. And I think that's having faith in something, creating something out of nothing.
Okay. So wait. Should I? I'm gonna write down your concluding thoughts, just so like I forget whatever I just came out of my mouth.
Hey, you can scream them in my face later on.
Are you sure?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, dope.
Bro, you know the type of conversations we have, but go ahead, Driscoll.
I do want to ask him this before we go on. She brought up an amazing point. If anybody's familiar with this, in your opinion, Yushin,
yeah,
or maybe not in your opinion, in your scientific research,
wait. Can I hold on for a second?
Sure.
You just asked me to consult my research, and that is like,
that's too much to ask.
No, that's like a science dream come true. Somebody's like, hey,
cool.
let me ask you a question about something you might know.
Let's keep it there then. In your scientific research,
yeah,
what have you concluded to be the most logical explanation for how humanity got here and came into existence? Or even better question, if you would like to frame it like this, how Earth itself even came into existence.
How Earth itself even came into existence.
Because I think science even describes Earth having an age.
Yeah, absolutely, it does.
Okay.
It does. Well, if you kind of specialize in sociology, not astrophysics, but I can give this a shot.
I would love to get into sociology too. That sounds like that's more up my lane.
Oh, harsh learning curve. Harsh.
Well, we here with the best, man.
You're in the right lane, bro.
Yeah.
Because I have psychological talks with him, and then if you get into the lane where you can talk to him, if you talk to sociologists and you have a psychological way of thinking about things, then it kind of keeps you from the fray in which they fucking live in. Because
you did not call my research. You did not call my ethnographic research fray right now.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. You guys live in the fray.
Immersed in culture. What do you mean?
So would you rather not answer this question and you rather move on to another question?
No, it was what I said. I think he can answer. Or he'll at least take his best shot at it.
Yeah, I'll take my best shot at it. But I'll give the answer only I can. Okay. So based on CIA research, can't even. It's the comedy of the situation. All right. Wait. I gotta hold on. You might think this is funny. You might not. Can you put the camera back on me so I can make this like exponentially? All right. You did not hear this from me, but according to this is in the 60s, by the way, and I have a VC tape camera in the 60s because I'm a time traveler. Go with it. On this, it was 1980, but now it's like 1960 right now, and like the NASA just said that all particles existed in dust because dust is molecularly tangible and attached to more dust, and eventually it compressed in the vacuum of space as a rock. When we collected rocks. So our planetary goal is just to collect rocks. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. All right, cut. I think we're.
I wish I had a clap sound.
I think we're good on that. We can
cut. So then, no, we're not good on that.
Let me turn off the filter.
I guess then the better question then, because that would mean that either the dust, space, or something that pre-existed, that would be God. So we're gonna go ahead.
Well, you see, like this is the great part. You're gonna freaking hate me right now, okay?
Okay.
But we as humans are not Earth beings.
Oh,
we are.
Thank you, though. That gives me an explanation at least.
We are terrestrially bound humanoids.
Can you explain that? Is there any way to explain that?
We're
breaking it down to you on a 4th grade level. We are people trapped on the planet as opposed to people who we weren't born of space. We are trapped here on this planet.
So we're supposed to be from
we're not
somewhere
supposed
else.
to be anything. I'm just saying our science.
How are we trapped then if we're not if we're possibly supposed to be here?
What do you mean by that?
The only way to say we're trapped is if we're not supposed to be here.
Well, how would you confine childhood?
A stage of life.
All right. So are you trapped in those years or are you trapped in the house?
I don't think either. I think you're where you're supposed to be. So maybe we shouldn't use trapped in the definition.
Well, that's where it gets interesting. Because science, as we know it, as we have already defined, is humanity's best compiled guess.
Okay, that's fair. That's accurate.
Now, what are we guessing? Just like there are different degrees of infinity, there are different degrees of science.
What are we guessing?
Yeah.
Is the origin. Because we know there's time. That's not a guess.
We also know there are stars.
True. And we want to know the origin of that too.
Remember when I said what you said was primordial?
Okay. I'm there again. Okay.
I
think that's where it comes down to. I think that's just what it's going to be then.
Well, the thing to me is, all right, the question that exists in my head is anything that is self-sustaining, for you to not believe that it has a creator is a wild idea. Anything that is self-sustaining.
Well, but I don't think he necessarily said there wasn't a creator. I think he just he said he hasn't concluded that there is, if I'm not mistaken. Or are you concluding that there isn't?
Well, you asked him about the formation of Earth, and he said that it formated over time. So this is
True.
Evolutionary science.
But that doesn't mean that there was not still an outside force that made that process begin. Time started, or else time in itself cannot exist.
Stars
whatever the force is that started time is God. There's no debating that.
There has to be continuity. So what do you do on the first day?
That's a loaded question.
No, it's Genesis 1. Hold on, let me pull it up.
Okay.
I'll pull it up. Genesis 1, right?
Yes. Genesis 1:1.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth.
Okay, so that's what you do on the first day. You create.
And then which day did he put stars in there? Because I don't remember.
The earth was formless and empty and dark, and darkness covered the depths, the deep waters. And hold on, let me move my mic out my way so I can read this properly. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the surface of the waters. Then God said, "Let there be light," and then there was light.
Okay.
Well, he asked when was there stars. That's later on.
I think that would be part of light.
No, it's in there.
No,
really?
there's a verse about stars.
And there was light, and God saw the light was good. Then he separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day and the darkness night. And evening passed, and morning came, marking the first day. Then God said, "Let there be space between the waters to separate the waters of the heavens from the waters of the earth." And that is what happened. God made this space to separate the waters of the earth from the waters of the heavens. God called the space sky, and evening passed and morning came, marking the second day. Then God said, "Let the waters beneath the sky flow together into the place, so dry ground may appear." And then it is what happened. God called the dry ground land and the water seas, and God called that is good. And God said that is good. Then God said, "Let the land sprout with vegetation, every sort of seed bearing plant." Hold on. Let me just find the joint with the stars.
It's 14. It's 14.
It's 14?
Yeah.
Then God said, "Let lights appear in the sky to separate the day from the night."
Correct. Now, what day was that is the question. How far ahead did you have to go?
"Let them be signs to mark the seasons, days, and years."
It's day 3.
"Let these lights in the sky shine down on the earth." And that is what happened. God made 2 great lights, the larger part. And that was the 4th day.
Fourth day.
The 4th day.
4th day, we got stars.
Okay, so if we look at it chronologically, I'm not saying let's take the Bible literally, but let's at least respect its Genesis tale. Its origin story, right? Day 1, heaven and the earth. Day 2, water and land. Because day 3, he just sprouts out everything. No, he said
he created heaven and earth first. Then he created light. Then he separated the light from the darkness. And that was still the first day. Let there be space between the and that was the second day.
Yeah, I'm about to say the first day. Yeah,
he did a lot on the first day.
The first day he created heaven and earth was just still darkness over the deep.
So, do you want me to get into why that matters now?
Sure.
Because the planets existed before the stars.
I don't see that in the scripture. See, I didn't want y'all to go here. I didn't want y'all to take me there. Now we're in an ugly place, bro.
Who is y'all?
And this is where lives are getting taken down, but we're there. So now, F it. I just want to challenge you and ask you, where do you see the planets in the scripture?
Oh.
They're not there. They're not there. And I want to keep it at that as best we can. We can speak in code language, but if you know where I'm going, you know that those channels get removed.
Well, I'm not a military guy, so if I could come in after this topic.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Just to play it. It said
we can have a conversation. Let's just not use the words, the terminology.
Okay. But it said he created the heavens, that's plural, and the earth.
That's a take on it. I still don't see where that guarantees that means planets, because there's also scriptures where Paul talks about going to the third heaven, and that was where he said the Father was.
Mm-hmm.
And they also considered the sky where the birds fly to be a heaven.
Mm-hmm.
So that does not mean that means planets, technically.
Well, yeah, granted.
I mean, and if just to further clarify, when you read, it said the Lord, it was darkness over the face of the deep, and the Spirit of the Lord hovered upon it. And then it's separated the waters above from the water below. What is the waters above?
I mean, well, that would be the firmament, but
But what does that mean in our scientific explanation that we're taught in high school? What is that?
That the earth was enclosed.
So what is the waters above then in the universe? What does that mean?
I think we would have to go further into that because that's not my ideal.
This would have to be a Patreon conversation, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Let's plan that in the future though. Since we're here, I think the Father wants us to take it there, man. We took this conversation as deep as I think we can go tonight. I think we've went further than any of us intended to. And I would like to get my channel monetized one day.
Actually. Okay, we're gonna have to. I'm gonna have to ask. Like, can you stick around?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Are you on Discord by chance?
I'm not. He's been telling me I need to get up there. I'll do that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna figure out how to get up there.
Same old place, homie.
Is Discord like more free with your ability to say what you want?
Because you have your own personal servers. So
yeah.
So we can say whatever the hell we want to say.
Should we go to Taylor Dean's place, homie?
Yeah, we could do that.
Dope. Because I want to ask you about like what the links of your revenue from advertisements cuts you.
Oh no, I'm not monetized right now.
Yeah, I know, but like what radar do you have to fly under to get there is what I'm asking.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, okay. Once we get there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't know the fullness of the answer to that. Unfortunately, I'm still doing that research myself.
Tell me what you know.
Yeah. So telescopes exist, right?
Yeah.
So in the scene of telescopes or whatever, to what we consider to be planets and things of that nature, maybe they're not planets. Do you think that we can see heaven through the sky?
Who are you asking?
Ooh,
you.
Dang.
You.
I don't see where that aligns with anything I said.
What do you mean? No, well, I didn't say that it aligns with anything that you said because you questioned planets, and I said that telescopes exist,
right?
And you don't believe in planets, but we can see planets through telescopes. What we consider to be planets.
That's what I was going to say.
All right, so let's do that. Do you think that you can see? Do you think that we can answer? Okay,
you can see what people have taught you to see. But what's genuinely there, what we actually see, is a two-dimensional light in the sky. As the Bible did describe in the creation story. I ain't saying it's actually two-dimensional. I'm saying what we see is two-dimensional.
Oh yeah. Our perception of it, and that's what I've been saying about religion this entire time. It's the science has always been the perception of the question that has guided us through this religious, struggle in faith that there is something out there.
And I believe the universe to be a religion. Every planet is literally named after a Greek god.
Okay. Well, I don't want to get into the pantheon, nor do I want to get into the Pentecost, but yes.
Let's not do it. Yeah.
It's
this has been a great conversation, everybody. We appreciate y'all for tuning in. I do want to ask you one more thing, Yushin, if we can. Yeah. You have really had a big reaction about the Andrew Tate and Brittany Renner video when Smitty accidentally brought that up. That was going to be a topic tonight, but we've been on here longer than expected, and I'm not going to get into it. But can you explain what that reaction was about?
Can I just play a facade real quick?
Sure.
And they're expecting it to be a contract. It's just supposed to be an open negotiation. It's like...
Okay. So you're saying the delusions irritate you?
I suppose that's what that caricature was about. Yes.
Okay. Then I'm more excited to see that reaction now. Then I thought it was something else.
Please.
I thought it was something else. Yeah.
Please. I was physically restraining myself. Silent.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, I'm gonna let y'all get out of here. I'm gonna get out of here myself. I appreciate everybody that stuck with us this entire time. Yushin, if you want to shout out your channel one more time, and or maybe we could try to link it. Let me see if I can find it.
Well,
or you ain't trying to get no traffic over there.
I'd appreciate the traffic. I don't know how much they enjoy me.
Yeah, I don't know how much we send to you anyway, so but it's the thought that counts.
Indeed. Well, if I could give a little like
is it YUUSHIN?
That is correct. Yep.
This is a very clip-worthy event, so yeah, people are gonna come back and watch this. So
wait,
go ahead and state your stuff, because people are going to.
Yushin.
I found a Yushin channel. Looks like a race car driver. I don't know if that's your channel.
No, doesn't sound like me. I'm the musician with weirdly titled indie tracks.
Is it at Rainy Metro?
Is it? I think it is.
Yep.
Okay, cool. All right, appreciate you. Go ahead.
Yeah. Rainy Metro on Discord. Yushin hopefully on YouTube. I don't know how the tags are working out. Welcome to the show, you right? We do all the kinds of stuff on this camcorder. We play some drums, do some guitar, and there's a bass back there. If you can, yeah.
He's a sociologist that plays music. Listen to his music.
Thank you.
Yeah. So
I swear, it's a whole band.
That's dope, bro. That's dope. And do you record your music?
Yeah, I do.
It's on your YouTube too?
Yeah, that's as always, it's old stuff. It's just catalogs from the archive.
And are you just doing like production, or you singing and stuff too?
I'm using everything you saw in this room.
Okay. So you're not singing.
Can't even say that.
So you're doing something vocally?
On some of them.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what's up, bro. I'm definitely gonna check it out, man. I make music too, so if you want to follow me, man, and
hey yo,
maybe we can have some shared interests down the line.
That would be.
Family Value seems to be a fan of you as well. She says Yushin is super dope.
Oh.
And
I ain't never got that compliment before, so you know what I mean.
Because she don't think you dope then, and she also said good night to the panel. Appreciate you for tuning in, Family Values. Good night, and yeah, we're gonna end it there because y'all not gonna get my channel taken before I even get it monetized. So again, we appreciate everybody for coming through. This is your boy Driscoll. We're gonna be doing this again, usually just spur of the moment like this. But if you ever got a discussion or a topic that you want to see us discuss on these panels, or you want to hop on one of these panels, hit me in the comments, let me know, or email me at driscollbooking@gmail.com, or just DM me on my IG at Driscoll757. Let me let my boy Smitty do his outro real
Before we leave, I ain't even about to throw out any of my relative information, but I want to do part 2 of our topic. If we could do it tomorrow or the day after that or whatever, if we can get at least one of the people that was involved in the topic for us to do a part 2 of our first talk on the panel that we got popping off on, yo. I want to do that and stick to the script.
I don't know if Yushin cares about that topic, but we'll talk about it.
Okay. I will be a special guest feature if you need anyone to do pedantic math on the fly.
Cool. I'm gonna keep that in mind for the future. But I already got a couple people in mind to add to that panel, Smitty, so we can do that part 2. Coming soon to what was it? Is the child support system
the morality of the child support system, part 2.
First one was heated, 4 hours of debate, but we kind of found some common ground at the end. So we got to do a round 2 with a few more people to really bring out more of the nuances and keep the topic more honed in to what it is we're trying to get down to. We're not gonna let it get so derailed this time. But until then, Smitty, did you want to give everybody your social media, where to find you, whatever it is you want to say?
You can find me on IG at just JUST_look_homie. Follow me on there. If you want to see me sharing a show or anything of that nature, you can also follow me on Show About Nothing on IG. I got clips that I'm gonna start popping up on there too. If you want to see the family life, you'll probably want to follow the Just Look Homie thing. If you want to see the clips and panels and things that I want to do, then you want to follow me on Show About Nothing. And I think that that's all just one continuous word. I don't think there's any underscores in there. So Show About Nothing.
And this is another married brother with a slew of children like myself, doing the dang thing. So I commend him and always celebrate him for being that example to our community. So thank you, brothers. If y'all can hang out in the back chat.
For sure.
And as I said, please, if you haven't already, please like the video for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications in the future. We're going to be bringing these hard conversations. Let me know in the comments what you think about this tonight and what it is that you want to hear us touch on in the future. All right. Until then, God bless and grace to you.
Street entertainment. Yeah. Driscoll. This beat should be illegal, Jay. Yeah. Dreams deferred is when schemes occur. Some nights I prayed so long I felt my knees would burn. So thankful that my God has met my knees in turn. But times I wonder if I ever get the things I yearn. Chosen one, never thought I had much need to learn. Hope someone would give to me the things I need to earn. Uncommitted to the things that ever seem too stern. Live to quit, rarely winning, steady victim to the sentence. Still in prison to the menace of the cycle, unrepentant. The weight can't hold our head up, golden shackles hold our penance. Of slaves are now the kings, why pass the chains to our descendants? While we still abuse the fame to bring us shame through our remittance. Just to glorify the things that bring us pain for all the bliss. And blame the world for our destruction while we're void of all remiss. Ain't no fathers in our homes, self-deployed disarmament. Marching, fighting for these boys. Imagine if they fathers did sacrifice to raise a kid. Imagine if these daughters did break the cycle, not do the things they single mamas did. Marry first before we carry. We'd avoid the drama then. Communities would be stronger. We would have less trauma then. We'd be raising stronger men and see less working mamas then. Making others rich when they should be home working on their kids. Life uncovered, so work's all the security they get. Another child in daycare who don't know how to play fair. I remember wondering why I even had to stay there. Man, I miss my mom when I ain't been alive for 3 years. And the chest is where I used to lay my head to cry these tears, breastfed. But now bedtime's the only time she's ever near. As I grow up, life's a mess. Little more drama every year. Learned to bottle up the pain. Used the condom for my tears. Still I'm working through the shame. Feel the karma on my heels. Trying to break into this game with every ounce of hope I still addicted to the chains. Every ounce of rope I feel. Feed my vices when I'm broke till I feel like my soul is healed. Treat it like a great escape. I can't die before the thrill. Acting like we tough just so you won't take time to know the shield. Please don't call they bluff this youngest. Waste no time to hold it still. To cap your whole jaw bling. I guess it's time to mold your grill. Since your Hotep king get mummified and put the rest when this abortion thing gets nullified. We gon' be blessed. Glad the court's been cleaned of all the violence on the left. Let the trumpets sing and hope the sorrow pours the wealth. So the unclaimed kings can hold the power for my hell. Let's confront these things. They know the crime, reform the jail.
The biggest issue facing Black America is father absence. We have children that are growing up without their fathers in the home, and that is being incentivized by the government right now via the welfare system. When the government says we'll give you more money if you don't marry the father of your children, you are incentivizing bad behavior in our community. What happens when you remove a father from the home? This is why I do not mess with feminism at all. I'm not with it.
The feelings I let dwindle in a dark place. For healing, I surrender to what God say. Stay when the haters live to see my art take. The ignorance and their feelings make my heart ache. Communities hurt, they turn their back on our faith. They kill our unborn children through the pathway. Sell them on the black market, that's a dark web. Tune in and address the strategy for all fails.
This breakdown and mocking masculinity, making it seem like there's something wrong to be a man, all of this contributes to the breakdown of family.